Recording, streaming, reset.
Boom.
3, 2, 1. Welcome back, everybody, to
Zing
VVR. We are doing the spoiler talk for Batman. This is your warning. Ooh. Full spoiler. We got Lorenzo in here.
Man, the spoilers are coming.
Oh,
man, they're coming.
Spoilers. How does it feel to finally talk about this openly with everybody, man? I mean, you watching here now?
Just excited.
Yeah.
I've been waiting on this movie obviously since 2016.
Yeah.
Like when they announced that they're having the Batman movie.
What a wild ride.
Yeah. It's exciting.
Dude, tell me about your... Obviously, we had a first experience, which we'll share, but now that you've got to see the movie in its entirety, what's your first overall thoughts? And then we're going to get into it, the nitty-gritty.
Initially, of course, yeah. Upon seeing this, the full version of it, seeing that intro just is so impactful. It was heavy. It's an intro that you need to see complete from start to finish.
Yep.
Just because like missing anything in that, it really misses little points in the movie that get set up and then brought up later, then drastically brought up that you're like, oh, cool, that's a good point, but without that intro, like you're not gonna know that.
Yeah, and that is obviously, this is all my fault. I'm a fucking idiot.
No.
So I told you about that. Like, I was so upset because like we usually go to AMC in Roseville.
Right. Yep.
It's just a theater
Clockwork.
to go to. In Minnesota, it's one of the bigger chains here.
Yeah.
It's just like that's the spot.
Yeah, it's the best theater. Yeah.
When you told me those tickets, or there was an advanced screening, you showed me that, and I'm like, oh fuck. I need to get tickets like now.
Oh, I was so ready.
Everything's sold out. They started opening more theaters. The buzz was starting to become alive.
Yeah,
now,
everybody caught on to the wave that was coming in a couple weeks.
And it just caught on, and I'm like, okay, I had to get tickets in a Dinah, and I didn't click until we went in line in Roseville, and the girl there was just like, something's wrong with your ticket, it's not scanning. And I'm like, I shit myself. Like,
you know what I thought?
Yeah.
So initially when you were like scanning and you're like, oh no, nothing's going through.
Yeah.
What I initially thought, I was like, oh no, he only bought one ticket.
Oh,
I was like, oh no, I'm gonna have to like go home or like go to the bar, which wasn't really that big a deal because I was like, the movie's not technically out yet, so it's fine.
Right.
But yeah, it was a funny little coincidence.
I was so upset, man. I mean, it's kind of a weird silver lining because I was gonna see this movie multiple times anyway.
Right, of course.
And then like, as were you. And it's like, I hate that we were late to that. I'm still like super upset. But we go to Edina. And they have comic books there still.
Yeah, that was a win.
Yeah,
that was a win because we went with the buddy that showed up to the AMC that we were going to go to.
Yeah,
and apparently he didn't actually get one.
Wow.
He said he saw them, but they didn't like hand them out. And I was like, well, that was weird because the guy like shoved them into our hands.
He's like, have another one.
He was like, oh, make sure you get a comic book. So it was super cool.
Fuck yeah, man. See, this is what I'm saying. It's like weird little silver linings.
Yeah.
And we finally got to see the movie fresh in our minds just like a couple hours ago.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my overall thoughts is like, to me, this is not a perfect movie.
Right.
But I think it's a perfect Batman movie.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of little inconsistencies. Just here, I'm really nitpicking.
No, yeah. You kind of have to with a movie like that.
Yeah, and it's like, I hate that about myself, like, as a movie critic, because, like, I want to go loving Batman, because I'm a biased person. Like, if it's Batman, like you, we're in it, you know?
Gotta go for it, right.
Yeah.
All in, man. And for me, I see it as, not the Batman aspect, but I see it as, like, a technical aspect. Yeah, right.
I'm like, not to temper my expectations, not to see, like, analyze every little thing, but watching it the second time, the first time I was just like, it feels empty. There's something there. The intro, like you said,
literally,
changes
completely,
everything.
flips everything around that you have in it.
And right before we go there, like I said, we're gonna go through the top and bottom of this. So first of all, 2016.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
26. I mean, back when I guess even if you really want to go back even further, back when Batman vs Superman was coming out, they announced that in 2014. They're saying, okay, we're gonna do this Batman vs Superman movie. Cool.
Right.
It might be the sequel to another movie. Awesome. La-di-da. Then we get to Batman vs Superman, and they're like, oh yeah, we're for sure doing a Batman movie.
Right.
Then it's gonna have Ben Affleck at the helm.
Right.
Cool.
Originally the plan.
Cool. And Matt Reeves is still going to be the director for it. So that was.
Oh, he was still attached?
Matt Reeves has always been attached to this.
I didn't know that.
From start to finish. Yeah.
Okay.
This has always been his movie. However, I guess that's not true. Ben Affleck was going to direct and be in it. And then that was like maybe 2-3 months into it. And then all of a sudden they're like, all right, cool. Let's bring in Matt Reeves.
Okay.
Take some of the stress off of Ben Affleck because he was.
He was going through a lot.
He was kind of stressing out about a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So then after they brought him in, Ben Affleck obviously stepped away due to some like preferences that he had. Obviously, he's doing better now.
Right.
But then Robert Pattinson was cast. Obviously, backlash.
Huge already, because like I know for a fact, everybody that I knew was just like, and people talk about this too on the John Campea show or just everywhere. Really, the Twilight Boy,
the shiny one, the twinkly one,
the one that sparkles,
right. Yeah, right. The sparkly vampire.
Nobody could wrap their heads around that. This is one of the better actors around right now.
He really is. He's sculpted himself in the last like 10 years of movies that he's done.
Obviously, for sure. And then like, just it should be done now. Yeah, he is one of the best actors around right now.
I would hope that with this performance that people can forget that.
Yes,
because it's not fair to typecast him in that sense, to say that he's just going to be that shiny guy, because he's really not. I haven't seen, I can't speak for like The Lighthouse and everything like that. I haven't seen those, but I've heard fantastic.
You haven't seen The Lighthouse?
I have not. I've only seen clips in here, like scenes like of like him and Willem Dafoe like together. I've seen those.
The Lighthouse is a movie you don't have to get baked for, but it's a trip.
I feel like I'd want to.
It's a trip, man.
It looks intense, and I like an intense movie like that, which is something I think he brought with the Batman.
Exactly, and for me, what won me over was actually that movie. He just completely is something else of an actor. Like, you just know that this is a person of its craft. And then Tenet came out.
That's what got me, was Tenet. Tenet pulled me so hard, because I'm like, all right, cool. I haven't seen Robert Pattinson in a while. Like, let's check it out. Let's see how he is.
Right.
And his character, like, dynamic from where you think he is to like where he results in is, oh my gosh. I mean, don't get me wrong. The movie itself written really well. Yeah. Really well. But he portrays that character so strongly.
I agree.
Like, you believe in everything that he's saying from the, I don't remember the organization's name or anything like that.
I forget, yeah.
He plays that character immensely well.
Well, for me, he stole the show, dude.
Yeah.
Like, every single time he was in it, like, I forget, John Daniel Washington, whatever, I forget the main character's name. His name, yeah. Killed it, but I feel like Robert Pattinson, there's like a class there of its own.
Right.
And like,
I wanted to know more. Like, exactly. I wanted to hit more about his background character. I wanted to see his adventures. Like, it was good. Yeah.
And if an actor can do that, then you're set. And what a perfect actor to be pulled into the Batman. Just insane. Yeah. Apart from that, I didn't know. Obviously, I think Colin Farrell was like the next person who was just like, okay.
Yeah, right.
And I saw the trailer the first time the Batman came out. Yeah. And the Penguin was there. I believe Penguin was in there, or I know for sure he's in the second one.
I'm pretty sure he was. He was glimpsed in the first one. Yeah.
And I'm like, there's no way that's Colin Farrell.
That's exactly what I said. I'm like, wow, that does not look like Colin Farrell. Like, I was worried about how he was going to sound. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But at a first glance, I'm like, that's not Colin Farrell.
I thought that was like the Commissioner Savage or whatever, somebody else. Like, completely.
I thought it was going to be like a Falcone. Because they hadn't officially announced like everybody yet.
Oh yeah.
Like but like that, they still had like a few that were like unknown. They were casted, but they were like in unknown roles. Right. So I was like, maybe he won't be like the full Penguin. Maybe he's gonna be like a Falcone kind of person that
which to me is what I was thinking too. Right. And then other more obvious stuff started coming out. No, this is Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I'm like. I don't fucking see it. Yeah, right. I don't see any like what's going on in here, because there's not only with the prosthetics, but he completely is now, I don't know, a different person being entirely.
Yeah, he carried himself differently. He the way he like actually held himself was different. The way he walked was different. The way he like would look at people, like it was he did a lot of research. I feel like I don't know what he did, but whatever he did, he nailed it.
Oh, absolutely. And that to me was like the one that stole the show. For me, is Penguin. For that. I mean, everyone killed this movie. Right. What a fucking cast. Jeffrey Wright, Commissioner Gordon.
Man,
we haven't talked about that yet, but what do you think? Yeah.
He's incredible. So like I was interested in when he was originally cast as Gordon, because I was like, okay, well, why was he cast as Gordon? I've seen him obviously in a few of his other projects. Right. But then I was interested to see where they were going with it. Because obviously I knew they weren't going to cast him as Commissioner Gordon. Right. They'd cast him as some kind of detective. Because if this is year 2 Batman, there's no way he's Commissioner already. That
makes sense, yeah.
There's no way. But seeing the way that he's interacting with Robert Pattinson as like they have that relationship that they've already been like doing things before. Yeah, like and everyone knows it. That was the coolest part for me, was that everyone knows that Gordon and Batman, they're together, like just hand in hand, and that was the coolest experience for me, is like seeing that their relationship had started already, and they could build from there. Yeah,
honestly, and it's not a perfect one, but you could still see the seeds
literally. Yeah, you could see like there was some mistrust in some areas,
but then I don't trust you, I don't even know who you are.
But one area was clear cut, and that was Gordon was a good cop.
Oh, absolutely.
And that was hands down, and he knew that, and he wanted to like let Gordon know that all the time too. It was like, absolutely, I trust you because you're a good cop, and all these ones are not.
Yeah, you're not corrupt like anybody else.
Exactly. That was, but he played Gordon's role really well, and I'm excited to see. Hopefully, I'm hoping they're going to do a sequel with it, obviously, where he's in it. I'm hoping to see that he becomes that commissioner and becomes that like actual stand-in figure.
Right. As the new, I mean,
the face of Gotham.
Yeah, I mean, from the start of this movie to the end, which we'll get into in a little bit later. I still want to go with casting, but there's so much that you see potential of where this franchise can go.
Oh my God, yes.
One more casting person. Well, there's two more actually. Zoe Kravitz.
Yep.
Catwoman.
Yeah, phenomenal.
What a smoke show, man!
Just killing it.
Yeah.
Every angle she's in.
Yeah.
Every single shot she's in. Yeah. She's stealing the screen.
Dude, honestly, when she first walked in, even you seen who was right next to him, was just like, woo.
Yeah, right. Like you heard it. I mean, you could feel it. It's just people weren't expecting her to do a role, I guess, in the sense where she was kind of like not necessarily selling herself, but she's portraying this character of like, look at me, but don't look at me. Like I'm I'm incognito, if you will. Like I'm just a regular in this place.
Blending in.
That was she was super blending in. That was super cool to see.
Now my question is, for Zoe Kravitz, I don't know anything about her, and I literally just found out about her just this year. Do you know anything about her, man?
I want to say I've seen her in one other movie. I don't remember what that was. I knew she was an actress, but I can't portray and be like, yeah, I know her in that and that and that and that. I can say I'm happy about that though, personally.
Yeah,
I do like that. I didn't know the actress going into it, because I felt like that removes a lot of the, I guess, weight that would come with it, of like, or expectation rather, of like when you cast somebody that's kind of like a higher profile actress, then you're like, oh snap, that person's gonna like really bring it to the table.
Yeah, like high quality class. I mean, like you have the other side of it, which is what's her name from Batman. What's it called? The Dark Knight Rises.
Anne Hathaway.
Anne Hathaway, which is like a huge high caliber actor.
Right. Yep.
But her portrayal of Catwoman versus this one, and even Michelle Pfeiffer's,
just their spectrums of what they're portraying were completely different. I would say like Michelle Pfeiffer, she really, I guess, captured almost like the initial psychopath.
I was gonna say psychosis of like a really fucked up person,
where she is genuinely just I'm in it for the thievery, for the revenge, for the cats, and
for all the wrong reasons.
Yep, for all the wrong reasons that initially. I mean, it still attracted Michael Keaton's Batman because, duh.
I mean,
duh. But then when Anne Hathaway is portraying her Catwoman's portraying, I feel like a much more stronger kind of Catwoman. She's portraying that like, I'm the one in charge. Exactly. She doesn't need anybody with her. She's the one in charge. She's the one that's going to get the job done.
Absolutely.
Whereas Zoe Kravitz is now kind of playing a little bit both. She's still figuring out who she is, obviously, as Catwoman. I was gonna say,
she feels more vulnerable.
Yeah, she definitely doesn't know fully like what kind of, I guess, leathered up, armored up hero or anti-hero that she's going to be.
Right.
But I think that she really brought it in terms of like when she actually was in a Catwoman outfit. I got big just comic book vibes, Arkham vibes, like just all the way Telltale vibes.
It was so good. Catwoman.
Yeah.
For me, like we were talking about, it's the vulnerability of it.
Yep.
She felt very vulnerable, but this is the first time ever that I get to see, like we were talking about Arkham, all the Arkham games. I haven't played Telltales yet.
Right.
Oh, that's crazy. But I felt like finally I got to see the Catwoman from those games, who was much more established Catwoman, obviously, but you could just tell.
Yep, you could feel it. Yeah. I liked her approach to wanting to do better. But like obviously she can't do better because it's the city.
Yep.
because it's everything around her that is pulling her back down or pulling back around or whatever it is.
Which that's why, like, when we get through we're gonna go through the movie here. We're not gonna hit everything, but we're gonna talk about where the city ends up at the end of it, because the city itself is a character.
Yeah. Yep. You have to consider the cityscape. Yeah. You have to.
And like I said, I really do think that Catwoman, or at least in this way, Zoe Kravitz really sold me on this performance, and I really bought the relationship between her and Batman.
Yep.
This was sexy. It was so like nuanced, like I said.
Tension, just tension between the two of them every time they're having a conversation.
And she was good. Like I said, it was fucking hot. And then one last person, Paul Dano as the Riddler. She
loved it.
I haven't felt that fear since the Joker.
Right.
You know?
And that was why I liked the psychosis that he was taking on, was that this man was insane.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't like comic, like haha, he's funny insane. Like his riddles are like haha. Right. His riddles are serious. Like it was almost like a Saw approach in a way of like,
I was gonna say,
if you don't make it out of this, you're going to die. Yeah. Like it was one of those scenarios of like,
and he does give you a chance.
Yep, he gives you the opportunity. He asks you the question directly. He tells you what's going on. He lets you know that if you do this, cool. But like, I'm gonna tell you why I'm doing this too, because like you're super corrupt.
Yes,
like that's why.
And then how do you feel about his portrayal versus comic book accuracy, or even the Arkham games? How did he do in terms of his Riddler?
I would say he had the feel of more of the Arkham games. I haven't read up a lot of the newer Riddler comics, right. So I don't know if he has taken a very, very psychosis dark turn with it. Right. If he has, bless up. Let me know, please, because I need to read that. Because Riddler's always been a favorite villain of mine because of how scary he could have been. Because I like Jim Carrey's portrayal of him, obviously.
So do I, yeah.
That's a staple.
Yeah.
Going back even further, I forget his name. Frank Gorsher.
From the Adam West?
From Adam West. This man was crazy.
Right.
This man he's a psychopath doing these things. He's the way he would laugh, the way he'd present himself.
Oh, so then he is pretty accurate then in terms of what we know as pop culture of the Riddler.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him other than Jim Carrey's version. So I'm like,
no,
that's the only thing. And then obviously the Arkham games. In the Arkham games, he was like intimidating. He was methodical.
And that's what I thought he was really bringing to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously we don't have the original green spandex suit, but costume wise, I loved it, man. It's scary.
Yeah. It was good. Yeah. It left that mystery aspect to who he might have been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you said it's Saw vibes. There is vibes from Seven, if you've seen Seven before.
Yep.
Saw for sure. Right. And there was like another movie that like it just has all of these references of creepy shit
of just like that suspense drama thriller kind of movie where like oh shit, what's gonna happen, oh shit.
And that's another thing, this movie's not for kids.
No,
I feel like it's too hyper violent.
I mean, I feel like you can it's for kids if you, I would say, watch it at home with your kid. Don't bring him to the theater, because then at that point like you've paid a lot of money to shell tickets and then the food and everything like that, just for them to potentially get scared of any aspect of it. Granted, I don't necessarily think that they would get scared at the physicality of it. Absolutely, it's more the mentality of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Of being physically like, this man is in your face on screen, screaming at you. That like
disturbing things,
like really messed up things. So like if they can grasp what that might be, they'd be really scared about it.
That's what I'm saying, dude. So it's like little things like that. It's not your typical Batman movie either.
Right.
Well, typical is in the way that it's more focused on the action. It's more focused on more. I would say more of the.
It's not as
dynamics. Yes.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Dynamic of the balance of it. Yeah.
Yeah. This one is much more darker. It's a little bit more grittier. In terms of like where this stands before we get into the movie, where does this stand for you in your ranking for Batman's?
This one, honestly, I would say this one's it. I got to go back obviously and because. The nostalgic side is still Michael Keaton's are like the top, but honestly, this one in terms of the like you said, the detective work that because it flipped. It's not your typical Batman movie. It's not action, gadgets, like sidekicks. We're all gonna save the day. It's I need to figure this out because people are dying in the city. Yeah, and there's a serial killer out there. So it felt very good and very like weird, like with your friend. We're saying like fresh.
Yes,
it felt like a very good movie to bring in to say, hey, here's our new Batman, and he's gonna be very like detective or like noir driven. Right, like he's gonna figure things out himself rather than like constantly like just either beat his way through the scenario or just ask other millions of people for help.
See, and that's the thing. It doesn't feel like the Christopher Nolan ones. It doesn't. It definitely doesn't feel like any of the Tim Burton ones or even Joel Schumacher ones.
Nope, absolutely not.
And in terms of this, man, like in terms of like where this ranks for me, I think I told you about this, but Batman Returns has always been my favorite Batman movie.
Right.
Ever since I saw it when I was a kid.
Right.
Nothing. And then like I saw Batman and Robin, and when I was a kid, I was like, that's the best. But like, obviously, it's tailored to kids. I was just like, I was in that mindset.
Yeah, that was definitely tailored to children.
Yeah, and then I grew up. I rewatched all of them, and still Michael Keaton. I have it in a steelbook.
Yeah,
it's still the best for me.
It's the three of them. That's why.
Yeah,
it's the three of them: Penguin, Catwoman, and Batman.
And then that's what I'm saying. Like, it seems like it has the same characters, and even though it has the same characters, completely different.
Yeah, these are different movies. I feel like in where Batman Returns, because it is literally one of the staples of how you should do the comic book movie, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where it's like, it is a serious movie, but it does have a lot of camp in it.
That's what I'm saying.
To where like I mean, him showing up on a giant like yellow duck in the middle of Gotham, where it's just super serious, and like this guy's got a gun to this guy's head, but like he's showing up on a duck is a good representation of how like almost crazy he is about what he's doing. Well,
that's what you hit the nail on the head. Taking the comic book aspect, and I mean, you take something real life and now you transform it into something abnormal, like in the comic book. Like obviously a person in a bat suit is already crazy enough. But yeah, you take these little elements and then you put them in a movie, like a giant duck or a person that's actually like a penguin creature.
Right.
It makes it more comic bookish.
Yep.
This one it's different than that, but it feels more grounded, more real.
It does. It feels like I could actually go to a city and see and encounter these kind of people.
And that's the thing.
And then at that point, like I like the story, like a story of where like they're not so much like a role or an animal that like that's why they got their name.
Right.
But it's like little things. So like in this case, like with Owl Cobblepot, like he wasn't a penguin in the sense of like he was short, stubby, and like waddled all the time.
Right.
They called him a penguin because he had a slight wobble.
Yeah.
That's about it. A little bit bigger of a nose, but like he was a pretty tall, big dude.
Yeah.
Like,
it almost felt like a nickname to a person that you just would.
Yeah. Right. What's up, penguin? Like just real quick. It just felt like he was in the city interacting, and that's how they knew him.
And that's what I loved about this movie, man. It really felt real. It felt gritty, man. It nailed all the notes for me. Like I said, when I saw it the second time, and I don't know if that's the same for you, this movie just gets better.
It does. You're able to see more the second time, obviously.
And it's wild. All right, now we can finally get into this. Now that we laid the groundwork up before the movie, man, all the players are into place. We open up with the Riddler killing, what's it called?
Mayor Mitchell.
Mayor Mitchell.
Yep.
And at first, obviously, when you see it now in its entirety, you're like, holy shit, we're not doing the origin of Batman anymore. But you get to see it's still the same parallels.
Yep. Yeah.
Parents were killed 20 years before on the same day.
Yep, exactly.
I didn't know they were killed on Halloween night. Did you know that?
It did, yes.
I never knew that.
It was it's because that's why like Zorro was popular, and that's why everybody was running around. That's why nobody really knew like who originally killed the parents. They had no official like person of like, I don't know who it is.
And
I don't know. Everybody had masks on.
Yeah. I like that there's not a person to that.
Right. I mean, in some continuities, there definitely is. I mean, in some continuities, we definitely know it was a man named Joe. I won't give full names because I'll leave that to mystery.
Yeah, exactly.
But in some continuities, his name is Joe.
And then that's the other thing. It's like, okay, if we do have this thing, I do like the idea that like every criminal out there could be Batman's parents' killers or whatever, Bruce Wayne's killers. Right. And that's the thing that gets him out.
That's kind of his psychosis. Is just any one of these could be the next person that makes another me, essentially. Yeah. And that's his big mission, is that he's trying not to have that happen.
Absolutely. And then, so like I said, opening scene, Mayor Mitchell gets killed, and you get to see his son is just like this kid. People like, I didn't think about it until I saw it the second time, and even the third time. Such an important character.
Oh yeah,
for the Batman.
Oh, immensely. The first time I saw him and I saw them make eye contact, I'm like, cool. So if he's not Robin, he's still going to be somebody that's very influential. Very influential.
It's this. I mean, just going through that journey. And here's the thing. This is why I like Matt Reeves as a director. That kid doesn't say a word.
Nope, not the whole movie. He doesn't have one friggin' line. The whole movie.
But this is the same parallel as Bruce Wayne.
Yep.
And then you get that confirmation with Alfred, who looks at the screen after Batman does his first thing, and he's like, just like hurt that he knows that Bruce has to do this. He has to go out.
Yeah.
And it's driving him crazy.
Yeah, because he sees him on screen. He looks right at him.
Yeah,
just like Bruce.
Oh man, I'm getting chills thinking about that.
Kids all alone, just like Bruce was.
Yeah, and that's
minus mom, of course.
Yeah, it's like it sucks, man. But yeah, and then we get introduced. After that, Mary Rachel gets killed, and it's brutal.
Right.
First contact, first thing that happens, he just gets bludgeoned and beat.
This man is going.
Yeah.
To be in your home and just kind of chilling, and then all of a sudden somebody comes up behind you.
Some dude in a mask.
Just with a gas mask, basically comes up behind you, just bludgeons you to death. Like,
dude, I'm scared of what's called gray tape now. You know,
duct tape. Right. Just the things that he did with duct tape in the movie.
Pretty wild.
No, to have that as an opening scene kind of sets a good tone for the movie. I feel like this is how gritty and how dark the movie's going to be. That we're killing the mayor, and you're gonna see it too because they watch every single swing. Like, they don't look away. They don't.
Yep.
Normally, in a movie like this, they would like maybe show the first swing.
Yeah.
And then they would cut to like a picture or something, and then see like the blood on the wall splatter, or like the mirror, or the flame that was flickering in the distance, or some shit like that. But no, they saw you. They wanted, they wanted that.
And what a way to open it, because if that doesn't tell you this is just for kids, or like if you're gonna bring your kids, like, just let them know.
Let them know.
We're going to McDonald's after. You know?
Yeah, right. You're gonna get a Happy Meal. You're gonna get an ice cream. You're gonna laugh about this.
Exactly. But if that doesn't set the tone for you, after that opener, I call this the actual opener.
Yeah.
When you hear the narration.
Yes. Yep.
Jesus.
The style of like my girlfriend or my fiance leaned over immediately and she was like, it's like Rorschach when he's like narrating.
Yes.
And I was like, yes. She got it on the nail.
You're marrying the right woman, by the way.
It's just on the head. On the head.
Absolutely. For me, dude, obviously with Watchmen, to me, Rorschach is the opposite coin of Batman, not Night Owl.
Yeah, yeah.
It's Rorschach at Batman's worst, and is the psychotic
the
level.
lowest point that he is. He's Rorschach.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
And that's it's masterpiece.
No, having having Robert Pattinson narrate his way through the like what you're saying, like kind of like almost the actual intro in a way of like, this is the intro to Batman now.
Yes.
You saw the intro to Gotham, you saw the intro to the movie. Here's the intro to how Robert Pattinson's Batman is going to be.
Right.
Having him narrate that was just
oozing out.
It was chilling.
And I was hearing you too. You're like, yes.
It was. You can't deny, because when I'm watching that, I'm thinking of any time you're reading in the comics when it's like panel for panel. How you're reading, and it's just Batman talking about like, this city does this city never sleeps, this city is good, this city has so much hope, and then he flips that and he also talks about how bad the city is. Like, it was a really cool representation to bring to the screen,
right?
Just to have that for me, so like it's so bone chilling.
It was and immersive, because like obviously the Riddler killing is like already like, okay, I'm in, but now when Batman is introduced, like I said, if you don't see the first 30 minutes of this, just go another day.
Yeah, honestly. Just wait. Yeah, if you miss the first 10 to 15 minutes, I would wait. Fun fact, you can wait, get your money back later, or they'll just be like, looks like you didn't redeem your ticket, just go ahead.
Oh, they'll
do it, possibly. Not guaranteed.
That'd be cool though. I mean,
they might do it.
See if your theater does that.
Right.
I don't see why not. It makes sense to me, you know.
If I didn't redeem my ticket.
Yeah. It only seems fair, for sure.
Right.
So now we get to, it's Halloween night. I didn't know that. Obviously, the first time we went, I didn't know it was Halloween night. So perfectly shot.
We missed that.
And I don't know if did you pay attention to this too? I'm like, how did he get out of the bat suit? Because like he's walking first in like broad daylight, or not broad, like it's nighttime, dawn, I should say. He's got an oversized coat.
Yeah.
So he's always in the fucking suit.
He's always in the suit. Every time he goes out in public, and he's with his hood up hat, like he's got his hat like super low. Like anytime he's like that, I'm like, oh, his suit's under there. Yeah. He's wearing the cape, he's wearing the armor. He just doesn't have the mask on. Yeah, and then the mask just like in the backpack or somewhere, maybe on his leg or whatever. Yeah, I guess I don't know where to go.
But like, yeah, he's walking and you're like, why does he? Obviously, Robert Pattinson is obviously he's fit, he's in great shape, but he's not obviously the buffest Batman, right? He's more on the leaner side. But I'm like, how does he look? Why does he look huge in this oversized coat? And that struck me. I'm like, what the fuck, dude?
Yeah, that definitely didn't hit me till the second time that I watched it. I thought he was kind of just walking with like a hunch to kind of change his form.
Yeah.
Of like, just don't notice me. Nobody will notice me if I like hunch over. I have the hood. I'm a little creepy. Like, I thought that's the vibe he was going for.
Right.
Upon watching it, the second time it was like, oh, he's definitely just in costume
He's
right now.
always in it, man.
Like, always ready, which I'm sure will change. But
yeah, eyes are already blacked out, ready to go.
He's got a mask up to here already, just in case. Like,
all the stuff.
It's cool.
Man. And here's the thing: it's the second year of Batman. Now, I haven't seen Batman Year One. I think you're getting a.
You haven't seen Batman Year One?
I have not.
Oh, we'll be fine.
Oh yeah. Batman Year One. I haven't seen it, and you're a huge fan of the Batman animated movies and all that stuff. Do you recommend it? Well, it looks like you do.
Immensely. Like, so Batman Year One literally is probably one of my favorite actual like animated movies.
Well, tell me about it. Yeah.
Hands down. So it opens up literally almost like this in a way.
I heard parallels, yeah.
Where, so, it's actually kind of cool. The guy that plays Gordon in Gotham, the TV series on... I know what you mean. The Gotham. The TV series, Gotham.
Yeah.
The guy that plays Gordon in there, Ben McKenzie, he plays Bruce Wayne Batman in this movie.
What?
And it's about year one, basically. It's about he comes right back from his 10 years, like, I gotta go find myself, basically.
Right.
He goes, learns martial arts and everything like that. But the big thing about it is the whole city doesn't have a Batman yet. And he comes in, he doesn't know how to be Batman. So he's figuring himself out. It's almost like a slowed down, stylized version of Nolan's in a way.
Okay.
I mean, it's what Nolan was kind of going for in that sense.
Right, Batman establishing the character first.
Okay. Exactly. And they show that in that sense. But the parallel to that I can give to that would be watching Batman Gotham Knights as well, which is just a 5 mini-part series where they show 5 different stories of how Batman started. And that's...
Is that animated too?
Also animated, yes.
Okay.
But no, year one, essentially, it circles around Gordon's startup because he's just a detective that moves into the city.
Right. He
moves into this city that's just trashed, and like he's a hero cop from another city.
Oh, so he's not even in Gotham.
Nobody knows about Gordon yet. Gordon's a nobody.
This is wild. Is that kind of close to his origin, or that's like
that's him moving into the city. I mean, it's my favorite one. There are obviously ones where he's established and he's already there by the time that Batman's Batman.
I like this.
But him moving into the city because he essentially ratted out another cop from another city because they were corrupt.
Right.
So obviously, as a cop, you can't rat out another cop because the code and everything like that.
Of course, yeah.
So he went back to his hometown essentially. But it's a kind of a dirt pile.
Right, and he's Gotham. Stuck there because that's where you get sent. So he's like,
but then he realizes that cop's corrupted, and that cop's corrupted, the mayor's corrupted, and this one's corrupted,
or like he's in the middle of that
but
shit.
There's this vigilante that seems to be trying to do good in this town. So then that's where their relationship kind of starts.
That's wild.
Yeah. So like this, so having the Batman come out with Robert Pattinson and Jeffrey Wright, having their relationship, if you haven't seen year one and you're going to watch it now, you're going to be like, oh, this is year, if that's year one, this is year two. Like,
so this is a perfect continuation of that.
It feels like a good pull from that.
That is one of the biggest compliments you can give to year one. It feels
so good. Like the movie is so good.
All right, I'm watching it now, man.
It really is. It really is.
I mean, like when it comes to animated movies, dude, sometimes I'm not so much sold on it, you know? I don't know. Yeah, go.
Oh, sorry. Animated movies, I love because they can do what live action can't with a more... People won't be like, oh, that's not realistic. I'm like, we all know that it's animated. Right. Like, nobody talks about Powerpuff Girls not being able to, like, they're 5.
Yeah, and I was going to say, they're all intended, like, it's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Or even if it's animated, you're meant to buy in. It's not supposed to be hyper-realistic.
Yeah,
or, you know, completely grounded to real world, you know.
I'm not supposed to completely believe in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. But year one.
High recommend. I mean, Selena even, I'll say this, Selena, like, I tweet, because in Zoe Kravitz actually wears a costume that in year one Selena Kyle wears.
No way.
Yep.
I thought she had. Does she not have like the mouse? It looks like more of a mouse kind of cat kind of costume.
The initial, it's like a thing. I do like what they did with the ears, how they have it like kind of poking up like that. I personally do like that because she's broke.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
So like, I'm not gonna have a lot of fancy money to like make myself a cool like cowl with goggles and everything like that. Yeah, why don't you steal it? Well, she'll get there. she's starting out. She's broke.
This is definitely a good continuation for sure. Then.
Oh yeah.
For every character is established.
Yep.
From year one. Do you think that was the intention from the start?
I think Matt Reeves as a director, I think he was trying to pull from many many places. There was a lot of different origins in there. Even Falcone having a relationship with Selena Kyle, like, which obviously we can touch on later, but like that is a different style that wasn't in year one. Right. Was that she wasn't directly related to him at that point. Wild. Okay. But then there are renditions where she is directly related to him. Okay. Like, absolutely 100%.
So it depends on continuity, but it's pretty much...
He's pulling from really good sources, and he's knowing where to pull, and that's what's really cool.
So this dude did his homework. Like,
wow. It is for me as a super Batman. I love every aspect of it. I mean, obviously we're both geeking out about it. It does have some shortcomings in the sense of the movie might be too long for some, but I also think of it as a detective movie that includes Batman. Absolutely, not necessarily like a Batman movie.
Yeah, and for me. That's what I'm saying. Like, it felt more like kind of Batman Returns kind of thing, because like Batman Returns to me is weird. It's so weird. Oh fuck. Okay, we're back. You changed your shirt.
Apologies. minor accident.
It's so wild. Okay. Anyway, going back to it, for me, Batman now gets introduced to the movie. This is, I think, one of the more impactful openings to me. It's weird because like Dark Knight Rises to me is like, it was weird because like at the time that I saw it, I'm like, I finally get to see a Batman movie followed from production, and I was hyped from the start to finish. Yep. And the first time Batman gets introduced, it sets it up to be such a promise, but it doesn't stick the landing for me. Like in some places, you know, it's like there's some really good stuff in Dark Knight Rises for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
But like there's the way that Batman gets introduced here is the ideal way for me to like, holy shit, this is it. Yeah. You know, this coming out of the shadows.
Yep. Fuck. Yeah. And exactly. That's exactly what I was going to say. Like them showing a version of him where he's doing detective work right away, instead of like showing him as like the hotshot Bruce Wayne, or showing him just like directly beating somebody down. Yeah.
I mean, it goes into the subway fight. Yep. And it's like, dude, what a way. And even when we first saw it the first time, I'm like, where's this scene?
Literally, and we were wondering the whole time. Like, obviously we were like towards the end of it, we're like, okay, so we clearly missed that scene. But it's such a pivotal scene, like having him come out of the shadows just to kind of deliver that message of like the big fear monologue, basically. Like, it was like, again, why I was like, yes, in the theater. It's just him talking about how like, I'm not everywhere all the time, but I don't have to be because they think that I am. And that was it's just such a statement of like, I'm doing my job.
Exactly. And the myth is like starting to be pulled out there. It's in every corner. And you get to see, I love that scene too. That's there's my favorite three scenes. The first, the middle, there's the mid, or the beginning, the middle, the end. And obviously it's weird because like they're all focused on these action scenes, but they really pivot the point. This is Batman. Yes. And that intro scene of him coming out and just beating the fuck out of these dudes. And that guy, I feel like that guy looks really familiar. The guy that he saves in the subway. I feel like
the Asian guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like I really couldn't pinpoint it. Yeah.
I feel like I might have seen him somewhere else. But anyway,
maybe we'll see him later.
Probably. I like that. Right there, he's like, "Don't hurt me."
Yeah, don't hurt me. Because I like that message that. Because you can see it on Robert Pattinson's face, which is another thing that I really enjoy. Yeah. Is that when you're looking at Robert Pattinson in the mask, in the actual cowl, it's still very emotional. I feel like I can still like kind of understand what he's going through, or what 100%. Maybe what he's trying to like grasp in that scenario. So like him saying "Don't hurt me" after I just beat all these people for you. Like, what are you talking about? You're about to die, and I just saved you. But you're still intimidating. You're still scary. Right. Like, I don't know if you're just beating them up to beat them up to save me, or if you're just trying to squash this whole thing. Like,
so then would you say that in year one then, and going to year two of Batman, that he's more focused on just brutally beating people up because that's his way
in year one? Yes, hands down.
Is the only way.
As a brief excerpt, I'm pretty sure it's in year one that he kicks a tree and cracks it in half.
Fuck.
And then Alfred's like right there, he's like, training? he's like I'm still not strong enough. And he's like, what? Yeah, you just kicked a tree in half, and the tree was like a thick tree, animated, but it was a thick tree that he kicked in half at that point. So he's definitely focused on the get the job done aspect of it, more so than the solve the whole problem
and
aspect of it.
That was my other thing too. It's like going into this movie the first time, I didn't understand who Batman is supposed to be, because I just saw the brutality of it, and I was like, oh fuck, what the, this is great and everything, but I couldn't understand who this Batman is supposed to be. From obviously we know the Christopher Nolan trilogy. He's supposed to be a beacon of hope for the people and a symbol of fear for the criminals. Yeah, do I have that right? Is that kind of like what it's supposed to be? Absolutely. It's one of those things of good people know that he's good kind of thing, and if you don't know he's good, then it's probably because you're bad. Like in that sense of like, he's not going to go after you if you're not doing anything corrupt or dirty, evil. Like you're not hurting random citizens, things like that. If you ask any like big Batman fan like that will read comics or watch Justice League, the cartoons, the movies, whatever it is, they'll give you specific scenes of Batman. Like, I mean, my big thing like when I was younger was Batman sits on a swing with one of the villains, the main like villains, but she's super strong in her sight. Like she has like this really big telepathy, and she could wipe out Gotham in like an instant. Shit. she's got Gotham under her control right now. Like everybody thinks that they're doing this, thinks that they're doing that. Batman walks up and just kind of sits with her on a swing set and just talks her down. And then gets to the point where he's just talking to her to kind of see where she's at as like a person or as a villain. He's like, you might not like have a full control over it, but I'm also not just gonna like destroy you over that. Like it's one of the he's helping her mentally. He's not just like helping like the actual cause of it or anything. So like he's becoming everything, or not everything, but he's becoming like this entity that is supposed to heal and be be everything that Gotham would need. If you need him to be an ear, he's an ear. You need him to be a punch, he's a punch. If you need him to take the fall, he takes the fall. That's the one thing that was good about The Dark Knight was I can do that. I can take the fall because the city needs that. I'm like, that was Batman. See, and those are the moments that I'm talking about. Moments that Batman felt like Batman. We're gonna go through the movies obviously here, but what was one moment that actually spoke to you like, this is Batman? In this one? Specifically the moment where I'm like, he is Batman was not when he like right after he saved Selina. Obviously it was super cool. But when he has his hand out. And then right at the end. And then the mayor is like very reserved. She's like, no. She's like, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. But then the mayor's kid, the former mayor's kid, is then like, well, I'm gonna get saved because I know he's on our side. And he pulls him out, and then he reaches his hand out one more time, and then the mayor does it, and then there's a flood of people that just start following him. Like, oh man, that to me, I'm getting like emotional. I'm glad we could agree on that because I'm like, that's the moment. This shit's good. This shit's good. Oh my god, that was the moment for me that I was just like, okay. I at first I was just like, this doesn't feel. He's making a lot of mistakes. Well, I like, and that's why I wanted to. That's why I keep bringing up the whole like vengeance thing is because the whole movie he's seen as vengeance. He's not seen as the Batman. He's not seen as Batman. He's not seen as I guess like a masked vigilante even. Every time somebody references him, he's vengeance. Every time. Even Selina keeps calling him vengeance. And I thought that was strange, but it does make sense. Because then when the guy after he and he's just like, who are you? And he's just like, vengeance. And like Bruce like turns and looks at him. He doesn't like that. That doesn't feel good. You could see the disgust in his face. He's just like, that's not okay. I don't like that you're using what I'm doing as a motif or as a muse to what you're trying to justify what you're doing. That was my he's Batman moment. That to me, and we're gonna get to that ending because there's a lot of goodies in that ending. But moving on from that intro scene, now that all the characters are pretty much established, we get to know that first scene where Batman is going into the first case, and all the cops are like, dude, who the fuck is this guy? Just he's walking in, and everyone's just like, you're not supposed to be here. Did that capture that vibe to you of like, wow, he still hasn't. Not only is he not fully the Batman that we know, but he's still not even trusted amongst people or the cops. I think it was, for me, it didn't necessarily show the distrust so much as the awe that, holy shit, again, like you were talking about earlier, like the mythos is spreading. That there's this masked man running around in like a bat costume. Like it gave me that representation of like, not all the cops have seen Batman. That is true. They've heard about him maybe, or they know about him. Seen the stories, but like not every one of them has seen him. But then some of their faces, obviously you can see on their face they're like,
you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
Who are you? Like,
exactly.
You're just a guy. Like, you're nothing. You're interfering. Yeah. Stuff like that.
And then we get to that first riddle.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. The justice.
Yes.
Love it. Love everything about it.
I thought the riddles were like I said, it felt like those Arkham ones where like you feel like you're putting together these puzzles,
right.
And the way that the sets was designed, blood spatters on the mirrors, on walls and stuff, and like the way that the cards are written, like a psychopath is writing,
just scribbled Batman on there, just mad about it.
Yeah. I thought that was excellently well captured. Yep. But we finally get to see it, man. I mean, we get to see glimpses of that detective aspect in other Batman movies. And this is, for me, what I was missing on it. Because you say it. We all say it. This is the world's greatest detective.
Right.
I never got to see that.
And we don't actually get to showcase the detective portion of it.
Until this movie. Like I said, there's glimpses in other ones. But now, this feels real, man. This one,
like he's thinking all the time. He's consistently, like, diagnosing. Like, he's cutting people off because he had a thought kind of thing of, like, well, I know that I'm probably right. So I'm just gonna let you know right now it's probably this.
Yep.
Like him hearing the riddles, and then like they're sitting there talking about like, well, why would we try to do this? And him just like kind of looking around the room and just being like, it's this.
Yeah.
And just like, guys, we need to fix this. We need to, like, he's determined to get the job done, and detective work is what's going to do that in this one.
And that's what I love about it too, man. It's because, like you said, you could just see all the emotions of his face. Putting it together, like he even finds a blood splatter on the floor that nobody else
saw. Like what? And he just like walked up and he didn't do anything. He just like, and then like moved on from that. And then like the one just was like,
I should probably get that.
I'm gonna make sure I get that. Like
that's what I'm saying. Like the way that Matt Reeves has directed this, like this entity that is constantly thinking that now, okay, this is a detective.
Yeah. And that's you brought it up earlier. It's the lighting of the movie. And I think that plays a really big portion of it. So like most of the scenes that you're seeing him do detective work, like the comics. So like I mean, even like your shirt, how it is right now. I don't know if everybody else can see that or not. But how like you can't see every aspect of Batman. You can see shades of his face.
But you can tell.
But you can tell that he's doing something.
Yeah.
So it was those aspects where he would turn and you'd see the lighting on like his eye, or you see the lighting on like his ears, and I'm like, cool. So that's Batman. Like that's him doing detective work right now. Like he's not flashy. He's not flipping his cape and throwing a batarang. Like that's cool to see in the moment. But like when he slows down and sits still, is he still Batman? Yeah. Is he still just like actually that centered person?
Oh man, I'm getting goosebumps. Like, that's what I'm saying.
That's what it's about, and I think that he did that.
Yeah, and they fucking nailed it, dude. And like I said, like you were saying, something that I thought that they were gonna do in this movie was. I don't know if you noticed on Batman's cowl, there's like scars already, or like
there's indentations and like flat marks and chunks out.
I thought that was gonna be from like the first scene, and like we were talking. I think it's at Arkham City does this perfectly, where you play the game and you start off with like a clean suit, and then near the end of it, the suit continuously has new ripples,
holes, and just tears, and
and even if you reload, I don't know if this is true. I don't remember if this is true or not. If you reload, you get a new suit. I think it's the same suit.
It's the same one, yeah. So like after you finish the game, I think you do have the option to reload your suit, and make it brand new, but you can continue with the same beaten, dragged down suit. Like
I love
whatever you finish with, whatever you finish with. That to me is a good story of like it's continuing, kind of thing. Like he doesn't just get a new shiny helmet every single time he goes back out into the cave. Like I don't. It's cool to think about but that's an established Batman too.
Right.
That's also a Batman that's been doing it for 30, 40 years, so he has extra cowls on standby.
Yes, and to me, I mean, the way that they handle that, like, the suit, we haven't touched on the suit yet, but this suit is rigged up more, I would say, closer to the Christopher Nolan one, to the Dark Knight, I would say, where it's just more of like tactical suit.
It's tactical.
This one's more armored.
Right. This one, I don't know what his, like, plating was made of, but I do like that it was... all of the armor was here on the front. You could kind of tell that all of his armor was on his chest and like his torso, because every time somebody was shooting at him, he would turn to face them, because then that's the safe point at that point,
right?
But then like on the sides you could see how flexible it was, so he could like still fight, bend, move.
And I think it's one of those, like, not like a bulletproof vest, because I know he did get shot in the back a couple times too. But it's all torso. Usually all torso, and maybe like right here, but like you could just tell he gets hit. Boom.
And that's what, because if you watch Gotham Knights, the animated one that I previously brought up, that one has an anime version of him
Right.
that he has that kind of suit on, where it literally looks well, not just like that, but he has aspects of it. So like the kind of collar that he has,
right,
that Robert Pattinson has, like that goes up a little bit.
Yeah,
he has that in there with the cape that comes down and like the kind of shoulder pads on there.
Yes.
So seeing Robert Pattinson like step into the light, and I can see that, I'm like, that's cool.
Goosebumps.
Immediately, I'm like, that's comic accurate.
Yeah.
So that's fucking dope. Like.
It's a different suit, and I think you know this too. Where like they had Robert Pattinson put on all the suits.
Yep. Yeah.
For just for testing and all that stuff.
Yep.
I got Michael Keaton vibes a lot from when he's doing front faced stuff. I was like, dude, this is like a very younger Michael Keaton because he's got that sharp ass jawline.
It was the jawline. It was the silhouettes, because that's what I feel like the big thing with Michael Keaton's was just it's about the silhouettes, because like he did like the bat thing, and obviously he did like the big turn and everything like that. But yeah, so like to your point, like when Robert Pattinson would turn and he would slowly do the whole thing, like that was a big Michael Keaton thing, and just having his whole face just as a centerfold for the screen was really cool. Dude,
I saw lots of those parallels in there, and I'm like, dude, the suit already looks not heavy, but it looks like very movable in there. Like, you can definitely do all your stuff in there, and you get to see all of it.
It definitely looks like he's still working on it, because then there are times where like it almost looks patchy.
Yes,
like in some lights, because like as it gets like further down, like some things are like tied on, like they're linked up more or less, like instead of like actually being part of one cohesive piece.
Right.
Like the pads that are on like his arms, you can definitely tell they're attached to his shoulders,
right?
Which aren't necessarily attached to the armor that's on him.
Yeah, it's just like another separate accessory,
right?
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Now, what I was going to ask you, the things on his wrist, it's got like silver. It's almost like Black Widow's kind of gauntlets,
right?
What is that supposed to be? The taser too? What is that supposed to be?
I think that they're more like almost like pins in a way. Okay. They could be tasers, but at the same time, I think he can switch whatever they are. Kind of like how Arrow would switch like his quiver.
Oh yeah.
Or how Hawkeye would even switch his quiver.
Right.
Because as a reference, we've seen him like how he knocks on the buttons or whatever, and it literally switches his quiver for him.
Right.
I feel like that might be a kind of like you said, taser or stun or knockout gap, whatever it might be. Maybe that,
because we see it in the opening scene with Batman where he tases the guy.
Yep.
And it's like, I don't know if that came from there or if that came from his utility belt. It's like it almost happened so fast. You know?
Gonna have to see it again.
Yeah, honestly, I gotta know.
But you know, it's hard to tell because he does. Because a lot of the time he pulls his grappling gun from there.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, when he's about to like smack Penguin for the first time, he's like, "Take it easy."
Yeah.
That comes from like the side.
Yeah.
Because then he's like, and it like drops back down. I was
gonna say, it's like it's a Taxi Driver is what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
The pop-up gun from Taxi Driver.
When he's like,
like that.
Right. That was so cool.
That was fucking cool. And so there's two little things, and he's got them on both arms at the end, like when he's launching them. Yeah. But he's also got his hip as well.
Right. Because that one,
reachable.
That one I think is for like him. So like when he's actually like using it to get out of a scenario.
Right.
Whereas the other ones are for get that to me kind of scenario. Do you know what I mean? Because every time he would use the gauntlet ones, it was like, get over here kind of action, as opposed to like when he would like when he's running from all the cops or whatever in GCPD, he was like, and going up.
Yeah.
That he needs more weight for that, so he needs the stronger gun for that, as opposed to just yanking.
That makes sense because you could see him do this.
Right, because he did the whole. I mean, that's iconic anyway. Like down and up, like that's iconic.
So sick, man. And then going on from this, man, we get to see what's it called. More of the relationship between Jim Gordon and Batman kind of being more established. And I mean, it's really this buddy cop thing where we get to Mayor Mitchell's car and they start to do starting to put the pieces together.
Yep.
Oh, someone we didn't talk about who I'm mixed on this. Andy Serkis as Alfred.
I was iffy at first. I do like it though, because I like the approach of they're not family right now.
Yeah.
And I like how hard they established that of we're not like close at the moment,
right? But
then having this whole Batman thing will make them close in that sense. And I think I'm eager to see it. I think it'll be cool. I associate him of like a Gotham one where he was younger, just out of kind of like the army and military and everything like that. So I like
that take on.
He's very just yes sir, no sir, militant kind of personality. Right. Not so much a father, not so much a what's the maternal
Yes.
kind of person to him.
Because like I was going to lead into, after Batman does after he goes to investigate the first crime scene with Mayor Mitchell, we get that first scene with him and Alfred, and yeah, it's kind of like this like tension of like, dude, you're not my father, like don't tell me what to do,
yep,
kind of thing.
Yeah,
and there's this like, it's weird because like you can definitely tell that Alfred or Andy Serkis, like the way he portrays him, he loves and cares for Bruce Wayne as if he was his own son, and then he says, Bruce Wayne says like, you're not my father,
yep,
and then I love it,
cold.
It's like, I'm well aware,
yep.
And you could just tell, if I was your father, I'd beat the...
I'd end you right now. Yeah.
You could just tell, but out of respect for him and his family.
For his family, the legacy. I know you're going through things. Like, yeah, it was good to see. I liked seeing him fight that dynamic of like, I want to be the father, but I also know I'm not the father. Like, it was cool.
And then we get to, and then correct me if I'm wrong, this relationship, because I don't really get to see it. I mean, the most I saw it, people, funny enough, like, Batman and Robin. Mm-hmm. It's not a good movie, but the parts where Batman is not in it, I rewatched it recently.
Also true.
Are the best parts about that movie.
That's also very true. Like any part with Two-Face, with Riddler, like with anybody, like they're all good. I mean, even going to Batman Forever, like their villains are switching those with Ivy and Freeze.
Yes.
Yeah. Except for Bane. Bane is not good.
Yeah.
I stand by that. Bane is not good.
No, not good. That was my first experience of Bane. But like I said, like for me, Batman and Robin, it's the scenes that it's just George Clooney talking to Alfred, and you get to see everything layered. That to me is why I watch Batman and Robin.
Yep.
I don't watch it for Batman and Robin.
Seeing their dynamic of like Alfred standing over him as he's trying to figure something out, and then Alfred giving him sass. I mean, may Michael go rest in peace, because he is the best Alfred that you will ever get on screen, in my opinion.
Most consistent one.
Yep. To be in all four and then just carry that over. I'm pretty sure he's done voices and things like that. But
for sure. Yeah.
Having that dynamic that George Clooney and him had of like, that's my father. Like George Clooney definitely gave you the vibe that Alfred was his father.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
100%.
That's why I like I said, Batman and Robin, it's shit on for so much and for the right reasons.
It is.
But dude, if you just take Batman and Robin out on all the comic book stuff and you just focus on these characters, oh my god, there's so much rich like it's an actual movie.
But in that sense though, to give credit where credit is due, Joel Schumacher in those movies gave a very good like homage to Adam West.
Absolutely.
Because anytime Batman and Robin were trying to solve a scene or whatever, they would walk towards the screen. Which is something that Adam West and Burt Ward would do. They would walk towards the screen trying to figure out what was going on, and then like they'd hand out something and try to solve some crazy riddle. So in that, it was very good homage to like the '66 version of Batman, which I really liked.
Dude, I still haven't seen the '66 Batman.
I recommend. It's good. It's super campy, and sometimes you're just like, oh my god, we did this.
That's what I'm hearing. Like, even though it's there's a love and charm to it.
It is, yeah.
You know,
it's and a lot. It's an introduction for a lot of characters too. I mean, it's the first time that we see Batgirl on screen in any context.
Wild,
like at all. I mean, obviously it's the first time we see a lot of characters, but like that was the first time that Batgirl was there, like in general.
That's cool.
Like that's super cool, and we got multiple versions of Catwoman now, not just Selena Kyle. Well, we have Selena Kyle, but like we have 3 different women that played them
throughout the show.
Throughout the entire show, we have 3 different women that played Selena Kyle.
It's wild.
One of them being African American, so that was super legit.
I never knew that.
Yeah, the best one, not the best one, but she was
top tier.
She was Madame Zeroni from Holes.
Oh no shit.
Have you've seen Holes, right?
Yeah, with
the
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, like the Madame Zeroni, the one that you gotta like bring up the mountain.
Yeah,
that's one of the original Catwomen.
That's a deep cut, man. Wow,
she's super cool. Like
never got that.
Yeah, she's super legit.
Wow. Okay, so like I'm saying, like watching this movie really makes me want to play the Arkham games and b like visit year 1.
Right.
Finally for the first time, and then like watching that to going to the 1960s one, just so I can like put it on when I'm drawing or something, just something to have on.
It's a good
that charm,
good background. Yep.
Yeah. Moving on then from all that stuff, we're going now into the scene where we get to introduce to the Iceberg Lounge.
Right.
I love that it's more of a staple here than Gotham is in a way, like because like the Iceberg Lounge is like it's its own thing.
Yep.
And funny enough, I mean, spoiler obviously, but the Riddler is right across.
Yeah. right across the street the whole time. And that's what it's something that, like, going back and seeing the movie a second time or third time in your case, is like you start to, like, oh, I should look for background stuff and things like that. So, like, you can start to see things like that. Like when, like, at the Iceberg Lounge, when she's outside, if you look around, you can see just, like, every single letter is broken on something except for an R, and I'm like, that's funny.
I never knew that.
Yeah, literally, it's just every single letter is, like, busted except for the R. R is perfect. It looks good. It's all bright and shiny.
So that's the thing about this movie. It's the way that the sets are designed. And none of it feels like it's just random.
Right.
Like the thing that got me to be like, oh, that's Riddler's thing, was that there's a green motel sign.
Yep.
It's always lit, and it's always in frame. It's there.
It's always there. Yeah. Right. No, the Iceberg Lounge I thought was cool because when we first see it, like you said, when we first see it, it just kind of looks like a dingy place in the middle of Gotham. It doesn't look like a fancy hoity-toity place. But when you go inside, like, it's bumping, the music is going, people are doing drugs and drinking and, like, just going all sorts of crazy. Yeah. But it's super cool to see that, like, Penguin's kind of in charge of that already. Like, that's already established in that sense.
And I don't know much about the Penguin itself, other than the Arkham games, man. What can you tell me about the Penguin? Because, like, for me, the way that, like we were saying, Colin Farrell just completely disappears in this role. Right. And it's a beast. To me, it steals the show. But, like, what do you feel of this Penguin versus who the actual Penguin is, of what we are supposed to know about him?
Everything that I've seen and read of the Penguin is just that he's just kind of like a mover in a sense. He doesn't always have a hand in what's going on, but he's the guy you go to when you need something done in that sense.
And so he is supposed to be this big crime lord, essentially, more than the Falcones or the Merlins.
Well, and that's why I really love Robin Taylor Lord's, like, portrayal of him from Gotham, because that's what happened, or not what happened, but that's his main, like, goal essentially was, like, in Gotham. He's like, I don't need to just destroy everything. I just want to, like, be the guy that everybody knows and respects, and, like, you come to me when you need something done, and I can knock it out, no problem, and everybody knows my reputation. So that's why, like, I thought it was really cool when Pattinson slammed him up. He's like, you know my reputation? I'm like, that's what he's trying to portray. Is like, my reputation is I'm the guy that handles everything under here. Right. Like, I'm the guy you go to when you need anything done. Good, bad, neutral, whatever you are.
So in terms of, like, the relationship with him and the mob, what is that actually supposed to be then? Is he supposed to be the one on top of the mob, or is he the mob?
Launderer in that sense. Okay. So he's the guy. He's, like I said, he's the guy that moves stuff, money, drugs, guns. Wow. He's just the guy that launders it. Like, he never is the guy that's like, all right, we're gonna steal these guns to go and rob that bank. Like, that's not necessarily what he does. He's a businessman in that sense. Okay, that makes sense. He's always trying to get a profit from something. Okay. So that's why sometimes he can be annoying, because he does it legally. Like, now I can't do anything about it because he did it illegally. Fuck.
So he knows the system, and that's how he is supposed to be this greater threat.
Right, exactly.
Because you can't touch him.
Because you can't touch him, because everything he's doing is legitimate in a sense.
That's what I want to see more, because that sounds threatening. Yep. And he's in broad daylight, and he can just...
anything. Yeah, right. He has, like, the... so going... not to consistently compare it to it, but the Nolan trilogy, in the first Batman, in Batman Begins, right, when he walks in and he's in Falcone's place, and he's like, look, that's the DA, and that's this one, and this one, and this one. You can't buy that kind of power. Like, that's what kind of power Penguin has. Oh, yeah. Like, Falcone's an underground person. Right. Not... Like, that role should have been Penguin. That role could have been Penguin's role, and it would have been crazy.
So that's the role that was supposed to be intended.
Like, I mean, I don't know if it was intended that way.
But that is the one, right?
That's, if I were to say, like, if you were to exchange a character, you could put Penguin into Falcone's role in that, and in probably a different movie.
That's wild. Okay. Yeah. So moving on from that, man, we have this, to me, incredible scene. Batman, I mean, you have 3 times we go visit the Iceberg Lounge. Well, 3 to 4, I believe. But anyway... First time, Batman just goes in. Do you know who I am? And then the twins, like, you get introduced to the twins. I don't know if that was supposed to be a reference to Tweedledee or Tweedledee. You know, like any of that
I think
stuff.
It was, yeah.
You know, like, since this is more of a grittier approach. But yeah, it's like Batman's like, you know who I am? Like, no. And then he just beats the shit out of him, goes in, blazing. Yeah. I love the way that it's handled all 3 times. Completely different dynamics.
Yep. I like the first time, obviously, like you said. Do you know who I am? They slam the door in his face, open it back up, and he's like, oh, you better leave. We're going to beat your ass, all that kind of stuff. And he's just like, my blood or yours?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah.
Like a cowboy, man.
You're right. You asked for that. So then he beats her ass and sprints in. But then obviously the second time he's coming back to the Iceberg Lounge, different circumstances, a lot has happened. Now he's here as Bruce Wayne. Bruce Wayne's approach to, I guess not approach, but Bruce Wayne's face as opposed to Batman's face, different reaction from different people.
Yes.
You're now Bruce Wayne. Like, all right, cool. Yeah, we'll let you in. Like, it's whatever. Like, he gets easily let in that time.
Yeah.
Third time, obviously, again, lots changed.
Yeah.
I'm a little pissed off now.
Yeah.
Now nobody's at the door and shit goes down.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's what I'm saying, man. Every single time we go back to the Iceberg Lounge, it's a different dynamic to it, and I love it, man. It keeps it fresh. It's not the same thing over and over again. I just didn't think that the Iceberg Lounge was going to be this much of a central thing in this movie.
Right. I like that, though, because if you're going to build Penguin up as much as it to be where he might need to be, build up his location, build up his like everything around him, and then let him take that over the way most people would assume he would.
Right. I think that's crazy, man. And I do like the set, because now you have Penguin in his little cubicle. He can oversee everything.
Yep. Yeah.
And then there's 44 Below? That's
44 Below. That's the
I
actual
didn't know
club.
that this was a thing, and this is a thing in the comics too, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
44 Below.
Right.
All the mobs hang out there, apparently.
Yeah, just dirty hangout. Dirty hangout. I mean, I feel like every DC city has one at that point. Gotham has one. Center City has one. Bloodhaven has one. Every city has their villain hangout. Like,
to me, I never knew that could even exist. And it's below everything.
Yeah, it's like underground at that point. So you walk in, and then there's the main club, but then you have like the actual underground where everybody's chilling.
Yeah, and opposed to that, man, Selina Kyle obviously gets introduced right away, and that's where I start to see Batman actually putting things together. Where he starts to see the photo, we get to introduce to the drops, and there's like the drop head references are everywhere.
They are, yeah.
In terms of what the drug does, I think it's just more of like kind of a like a synonym for like cocaine or maybe meth or something like that.
I would say some kind of whatever meth, I guess cocaine or anything you can just like take right off of a tray in that sense. I don't know all of them, but
yeah, it's something like that. But and that's what I was saying. Like, it looks like, okay, this kind of drug, but why is she kind of grabbing it? Because he's handing her money, and is she like running drugs for somebody else? I never understood what was going on.
I didn't know if the drugs originally. I didn't know if the drugs were for her or if because she brought him a tray of money. So I was like, okay, well, maybe she's a waitress and she's walking around and people are grabbing them off and dropping money in.
Because she does. I think she does work there.
She does work there, yes.
So
and
that might be it.
That's what she does for money in that sense when she's not Catwoman, but.
That makes more sense. That she's running it to either 44 Below.
She's just she goes up and down.
Okay.
I don't even know if she traditionally goes up and down really. Because I know one point when Falcone's there, she's like, I'm just down for a second. I was just going back upstairs. So I don't think she's even supposed to be downstairs.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Or likes going downstairs.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's some scenes where I'm like, I need to know a little bit more, but like it's almost like they do enough to just tell you, oh, we can. That's what we're doing. This to actually go over some of those scenes, because that scene is like there's so much going on there. Batman's in there with the Penguin trying to figure out what's going on, what happened with Mayor Mitchell and the girl, and then Selina Kyle sees the photo of her friend who was later kidnapped, or later presumed dead.
Right.
So much happens there. I'm like, I don't know what's going on with the drop heads at all.
It was
It's a center point of this entire movie.
Yeah, they definitely let you know that was going to be something later on with how hard the camera focused on that.
Yes. Moving, dude, I don't understand. And I had to watch like a spoiler talk video for this too, or like Easter eggs. The main story, what's actually going on.
Right.
The Maroni case, this is I guess after year one, I think. But this Maroni case, where it's the biggest drug bust supposedly in history of Gotham, where they now have taken out one of the biggest crime lords there.
Yep.
And because of this, Carmine Falcone is now in it, running everything, and he's putting the people that helped him out into positions of power. And that is the whole plan of Riddler, is to expose that system.
Yep. Yeah.
What did you think of that?
I enjoyed it. I didn't know, I guess, where it was going to come from originally, because I was confused on why or what Riddler was so upset about, because obviously, like, that's the big thing is, like, what triggered it? What caused this whole series of events?
Exactly, yep.
But having him lay out, like, the groundwork of, like, it was multiple people, things like that. Like it was the city kind of thing. It was like the higher up, the elected officials.
Yes.
I feel like it's one of those things that kind of just makes sense for a story.
Okay.
Because when you do a story about this guy that's trying to change his city or trying to help his city, what better way to reflect that than to change the elected officials at that point? Start there, then go down. Like, I mean,
yes.
Eventually, if we get Batman 2, 3, 4, whatever we get to spin off XYZ,
right?
Then we'll get to the crazy villains of obviously Joker and like Poison Ivy, Freeze, and stuff like. We'll get to those really crazy ones,
the ones that can threaten the city at its changing point.
We'll get to those ones, but let's handle the internal threats first. And I feel like that was a good place to start for it.
And that's why I love Batman Begins for that. Batman Begins being my second favorite Batman movie. It really does tackle Gotham's first main problems. Same as this one. The main roots of the problem is that it's built on a corrupt system. It's horrible. And Mayor Mitchell's death, and then now this campaign that's leading up to it, the fake campaign, as it were. There's so much that is just needs to be exposed. And then that's the question: is Riddler doing the right thing?
Right. I mean, I would say it's one of those doing the right thing, but how you're going about it kind of thing. So it's like outing everybody, yes. The way you're doing it, not necessarily the best way. You're literally killing them instead of. You're saying that the whole first riddle of the movie, like the whole what's blind and what's if you don't get it, what like it gets violent. That's justice. Cool. You're jumping straight to violent.
Going straight to it.
You didn't tell anyone that you were scorned. You didn't tell anyone that like, hey, this person's doing this. And if you tried, who did you try to tell? They didn't show that at all.
Exactly.
But who did you try to tell? Because it just you said you're an orphan, and then you said the renewal fund was supposed to be for you, but then something happened, and you're gonna blame all of Gotham for that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like Riddler is right, but the way he went about it,
just the way he's doing is wrong. But that's again why Riddler's always been one of my favorite villains, is just because of the man's insane. He has death traps for Batman. They aren't just like fun little riddles for him to like. They're not just annoying. They're death traps that are consistently getting in the way of Batman actually stopping Joker or somebody else. Like speaking in the form of the Arkham games. Like when you're just driving in the Arkham game and all of a sudden you see that little riddle thing pop up. Like
there it is.
If you think about that contextually, for me, like if you think about that contextually, Batman is on his way from this point to now, spoiler for Arkham Knight, to then stop Jason Todd for that whole whatever it is. And now you're stopping to solve a riddle. Because Catwoman was in danger. Which, that's serious, yes. City is burning. And this psychopath is over here like, but me, look at me.
I'm doing this.
Right. He's not just annoying.
Here's a trophy.
He's death traps over here. So it's good. I enjoy him.
See, and so that's what I'm saying. It's like you have all of these dynamics of the actual underground story being brought to light, and Riddler is right. He's right about it, and it's horrifying to see that the city, he's cleansing in a way the city. He's
also in some areas he hasn't gotten all the facts. He's going off of face value on something, like with the whole Thomas Wayne thing. How Thomas Wayne might have said, "Hey, Falcone, handle this for me," but he also didn't say, "Hey, Falcone, kill this dude."
Right.
Like to quote, he's put the fear of God in him. But then, like Falcone said, when that doesn't work,
what else can you do?
I'm like, what? He did not tell you to kill this man. He's a doctor. This man is a doctor. Like, there's no way a doctor would tell you to kill him.
Exactly. So, and that's where I'm like, okay, wow, so many things that like the Riddler just kind of goes off, but he's angry. He's extreme, the same rage, and that's another thing I was going to talk about. Those parallels between Riddler and Batman. They're very similar people. But the way that they handle these problems is completely different.
It's so their perspective on where they've ended up has become different too. Because, like you said, the way that they handle this scenario has changed a little bit. He had Alfred. He had all the training that he had because of the money that he was able to luckily get.
Right.
Whereas Riddler was the orphan that didn't get any of that. So he's likely been. He's an accountant. He's been doing just normal. They've probably been laundering money and everything like that. Right. But he's had to kind of really work for that position,
right,
to make any kind of change.
That makes sense. And I did hear a rumor too, and I don't know if this is right, but apparently his dad is supposed to be that reporter that was killed. I don't know if that's true or not. Or there's
the Elliot character,
yeah, something like that. Where I heard that because of something that happened there, it spiraled the Riddler, as we know him, to like go into this, frenzy of like, okay, now it's time.
Do you remember what the reporter's name was?
I know it was something else, but it definitely had nothing to do with Riddler's name or
it
Edward
did not.
Nashton.
But the name Elliot.
Yes, Elliot something Nashton or whatever. No,
that's his name.
Elliot something. Yeah, you're right.
But the name Elliot itself.
Yes.
That was one of Wayne's childhood friends that became Hush. So like it was a tie-in with all of that.
So there's more reference to that.
It's deep, just deep references all the time.
Oh my god.
But yeah, which is another Riddler character identity in that sense, because he was also Hush at one point. But that's completely different. But that'd be cool to see if Elliot was his dad, though.
Yeah,
that'd be really interesting.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, what? I mean, obviously you have all this information for the Riddler. Like, okay, I know the truth. How did he find that out? And it's through the renewal program,
right?
The renewal thing of the promise of everything that Wayne was supposed to do before he unfortunately lost his life.
Yeah.
But everything laid the foundation. Basically, it's a split fork in the road that when Thomas Wayne died, it really set the path for Batman, and it set the path for the Riddler as well.
Yep.
In terrible ways.
Because they at one point I think are in the same picture together.
Yeah.
On the wall.
I think so. Yeah.
Because that's why he wanted to target him, is because like, you're the golden boy in the orphanage, but at the same time you're also in a mansion. So it's like he didn't believe that was enough suffering in that sense. I'm like, but he lost both of his parents, like in front of him too.
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of I guess hatred for the city in that sense.
Yes, and I think it's just the way that it was done was like really well done. Like absolutely. Going on from that, dude, we get to one of my favorite scenes. Apparently, Catwoman orchestrated this little drop thing or whatever, so that you have the Penguin and what's it called going to it's the raining scene right before the car chase scene. The Penguin and everyone, they're exchanging this money thing or whatever, or like picking up droplets for Falcon Moroni. I'm not sure what's going on there, but that's what I wanted to ask you about. What actually is going on there? All we know is that Batman is following the Penguin to the drop zone. That's it.
Right.
But then Selina Kyle comes out, and it's like, holy shit. Now, like Graham said, things got complicated.
As far as at least from like watching it a second time, it's like literally they're just trying to get a reason or find out who the El Ratalata.
Yeah.
They're trying to see who that might be and if they can track Penguin to go to that person.
Right.
Because they at this point are suspecting that Penguin would be that El Ratalata person. Yeah. Because that was the whole reason for the car chase scene. Because then he gets Penguin, they interrogate him. But that's the whole point of like, who is El Ratalata?
Okay.
So that the cause of that, and then all of a sudden she pulls up, and he obviously knows that she's not here for the El Ratalata.
Yeah. Like she's just here for
she's here for her Annika, for her friend. So she's trying to get down to the bottom of that / steal the money that would pay for whatever the rat at that point would be paying for.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like there's little things that are not explained or they're just happening. Yeah. And that's why I wanted to do the spoiler, because I'm like, I still didn't understand what was going on there, because she goes there and you're right, she's getting the money for her bag, which from all the money that she stole already,
right,
she should have enough money to do whatever she wants.
She's good. I don't understand it.
What is he trying to what more does she need? How can you
she's trying to completely disappear at that point, because she stole a whole duffel bag out of 2 duffel bags. She took one. I'm like, that's, you took the whole thing at that point.
Yeah, and it's not explained or even seen what she does with that money. And she stole before too. And like, dude, you have all the money. Right. You got it all.
It was drug money anyway. So I'm sure, because I'm sure how she found out about it was like, oh, we're having a drug drop at this time at this location.
Right.
All that kind of bullshit. Because she's just a waitress that hears things. So. And
it's interesting because the Penguin knows who Zoe Kravitz is or Selina Kyle is, so because they've talked before. Right. But now she's there as a full Catwoman costume, which I can kind of almost see it, but I think the way her mask kind of sets in, it kind of does a pretty good job at not even showing her face, or not even showing who she actually is underneath that. And the way that she fights and carries herself out as a different person, she's not there to engage the Penguin, like you said. It's just to get this money.
Yeah, she's literally there for stealth and stealth only.
Yeah,
she doesn't look like she is looking or wanting any kind of a fight.
Yeah.
The small fighting she did just to get to the car. I mean, you saw Batman sneak up on her afterwards. She was like tweaking, like she turned around ready to fight. Like she wasn't really ready for somebody else to then be there. Like that was the most fighting I should have to do. In and out, gotta go, and then off on her bike. But
then we get to that. She opens that bag, and it's her friend.
Yeah.
That music when that kicked in, that's so heartbreaking.
It's her Catwoman theme is just, it's so delicate but so just peaceful at the same time. But it's sad seeing you unzip that and you see your best friend beaten to death, strangled. Like it's hard.
That's some tough.
It's hard. I don't blame her for wanting to kill the cop then at that point either. Like I get it.
That was messed up, man. And then now we have this is another scene that I was just like, what is actually going on here? They start shooting at Batman and Catwoman right away, and then Batman falls, and I'm like, "What is? Did he get shot in the chest? Because that should have went off of him. What happened there? It didn't make sense of like, did he hit him in the head? Is he just unconscious? I didn't understand.
I guess I would assume that he probably just got sniped in the head real quick or something. I'd have to double check it. I don't fully remember if he maybe did get hit. Maybe somebody snuck up on him.
Yeah.
I do know that at that point, that's when they got like surrounded again. So,
absolutely,
so maybe somebody snuck up and like pinged them off the back of the head or something.
And that's what I'm saying. Like it happened so fast, but they get shot and he just falls on the ground. And now the Penguin's coming closer, and he's shooting at him. And as he's getting closer, I still see on the bottom right hand screen a person there, and I think that's Batman. And it's like the Penguin is walking towards that. But I think that's one of the twins that's actually on the floor because the ones that Catwoman took out. Right. So as he's turning the corner, like Batman that's supposed to be there is gone, and I'm like, oh, okay. I thought that was Batman on the floor that we saw on screen, but it's not.
Right.
He's on the other side of the car.
On the other side of the car, yeah.
And that was like, oh, that's how he got from A to the car.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right. He the old swapperoonie?
Exactly. And I'm like, okay. I didn't know what happened there. It's just like that scene. The way it was like kind of filmed was good. It's just the way it was set. Like maybe things could have been more articulated, just a little bit better.
I was like, or like maybe the camera could have panned out a little bit further just to see like both angles of that.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, little things like that.
Right.
And then we get to what I consider to be one of the scene that everyone's probably going to take away from the car chasing.
Yep.
Like
a highlight of the movie for sure.
Batmobile, man. What did you think of this rendition of it?
I love the fact that we're seeing like the first rendition of the Batmobile as opposed to like a completed like this is an established Batmobile.
Yes.
Just the way that like when you first see like the lights of the back of the Batmobile like come on like
the back burner, yeah.
And you see all of that kind of ignite and start up. And you see the car kind of rumble a little bit.
Yeah.
Just to see like Penguin and Gordon and all their faces of like, what the hell was that? Like that was super cool. Just because it's like no one's seen a Batmobile before.
Yeah.
And this is his first outing to try to see like, I think it's gonna work. Let's try to see it.
And you see that throughout the movie too, that you get hints. There's chains everywhere in his in the Batcave.
Right.
There's like the car is there, but it's covered.
Right. There's an engine block that is out and being worked on.
Yeah.
Like you can see that he's trying to get something to be able to traverse around the city like faster and well.
And the wheels, dude. I don't know if you saw the wheels, but they are
thick. They're
super thick.
Wide ass wheels. Man. I mean it's drag wheels, I'm sure, like drag wheels. I'm sure they're race wheels, like
all terrain.
those man, and he can drive with that car. Like that car's got some traction.
Yes,
got some traction.
And when he starts to take off, that's what I'm saying. Like you said it before. Everyone shit a chicken.
Right, literally. Like oh my, like to have and he shoots by like just to have this machine that's emitting these jet engine sounds like whizzing by you.
Dude, that would cause me to freak out.
Yeah, having that as a car chase was good. I enjoyed it.
Yes,
I want to see another version of the Batmobile though too.
Absolutely, and then that's the thing. That's why I keep taking away from the first time I saw this. This isn't our established Batman yet, and I wanted it to be. But then when I went home, I was just so overwhelmed with all these emotions. I was just like, wait a second. This is just sowing the seeds for something greater.
Right. Now he knows, like, oh, this could work better. Maybe a longer car work better, a shorter car, like whatever it might be. Like, I mean, this car was armored up to the T.
Yes.
As a whole, anyway, he was smashing through brick wall, like I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. That's
those
cement
big
tunnel
bricks,
thing?
like center thing. Yeah, he just smashed through it. So I'm like, all right, cool.
Oh, that's another thing I was gonna touch on. This sound design is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed the where the bass was in most of the hits.
Yes,
because it felt like it was like in the initial impact of things.
Yes,
and then after that it would fade out.
Yeah,
right. It would completely just die off. So because then that would leave room for them to talk and you'd be able to hear whatever they're saying.
Yes, and for me, and I don't know if you feel about this too. The theaters that we went to an AMC theater, IMAX, and the Marcus Theater. Marcus Theater is more of a. It's been around, but it feels more of like a, I don't know, not corporate, but more family. It's this weird cross between those two.
Right.
You know, there are still chains of Marcus Theaters, but anyway, they have a giant, their version of an IMAX screen, which is the double X screen or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't like that theater.
Going and seeing the Batman in like the AMC, like the big IMAX theater compared to like their I think it's like a Dolby.
I was gonna say the Dolby Atmos is my preferred way to watch movies.
Right.
It's just more immersive.
Yep.
The one thing I can give the Marcus Theater though is that the contrast of the screen is great.
Yep.
You can see greater details. The black stand out a little bit more. Mm-hmm. The lighter scenes are just more. They're just more detailed.
Yeah, I definitely. It's if in comparison of the two, like it's kind of like the whole like, well, Toby's the best this and Andrew's the best that.
Yeah.
It's Marcus has a better, I'd say, like visual appearance.
Yes.
Whereas like AMC had a much like fuller sound.
Yes.
And fuller kind of like feeling to like the bass that was there.
Yep. I'm glad we can agree on that because that's what I'm saying. If you're gonna go see this movie, watch it in a Dolby Atmos.
Yeah.
If you can't do that. AMC IMAX.
Right. But that's like the Dolby was clean. It was.
Those, like we were saying, those bass hits. Like I said, the sound design when he goes through that cement brick cylinder thing.
Right.
You just get to hear it, and then when he revs the engine,
just right back up, and then just like him going through the flame and just landing, you can hear like the car scrape the ground. Like it was. The movie itself in that moment like really comes together just because you're like, oh, this is for sure the Batman movie. Like,
and then people were like, I was like, fuck.
Yeah, my leg was sitting there just twitching, just going.
I could just tell people were like that too. They were like,
it's happening. We get to see this happen. Like,
yes, and there are fast cuts, but everything that's happening there is perfectly cut. Mm-hmm. You can tell exactly what's going on. Yeah. For me, my only issue with like any of that, it's like maybe that scene was maybe a bit too long, but honestly, I wouldn't change it for the world because you get to. It's still the intense action that I wanted to see anyway. Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like this movie is a 3-hour movie. Right. It didn't feel like it was. Like it didn't feel like a 3-hour movie. It felt like a 2-hour movie, actually. More than anything.
Yeah, I would say one because I don't really notice that it starts. Like I don't notice like, oh man, this is a long movie. Like you know how you can kind of feel that most of the way through movies. Yes. By the time I felt that, the movie was about over. Yeah. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Never mind. That wasn't that bad. That wasn't bad at all. It was like it was one of those things. So like for like, oh man, this movie is pretty long. I've been sitting here a while, but by that point, it was like him about to cut the rope. Yeah. To the thing, and I'm like, oh. The movie's almost done at that point. Like, you're right, exactly. And that's, that's what I'm saying. Like, this movie didn't feel like that. I would have had an issue where, like, if some scenes, I think some scenes could have even been extended more, and some scenes could have been cut just a little bit smaller. Mm-hmm. But still, this runtime could still be around the same time, even if you extended or cut some scenes. Right. 3 hours of this movie, it's still really tight. Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Things are always constantly moving.
Well, even still, apparently there's a scene that ties into one of the I won't call it like a post-credit scene, but the last scene of the movie with the Riddler and the unnamed Arkham inmate. Yes. That Pattinson actually goes and sees that unnamed Arkham inmate beforehand. Yep. Because of previous history that they've had.
Apparently, it's already been. He's not the supposedly character that we know of, right? Which we can say now. But like it's not supposed to be that character yet. Supposedly, from what we were talking about, that is supposed to be that Joker character or this rendition of it. Yep. I feel like it's still they left it. You know, the reason why they took those scenes out is because like maybe we're not supposed to see the whole thing yet. You know?
Well, and then he even said that because I looked up on it. I'm like, I wonder if there's any like deleted scenes or anything like that. Matt Reeves himself specifically said everything that I want in the movie is in the movie.
Yes.
But then, like I said, he did release that at some point there is, for the home release, there is a scene that he has that he wanted it specifically just for the home release.
Right.
That Pattinson goes and, like, as Batman, goes and visits an Arkham inmate because that inmate is a serial killer. And he's dealt with him before, and that's why that Arkham inmate's there.
Yes.
So he's trying to understand where the Riddler's coming from and why the Riddler might be doing this.
Yep.
In order to understand that, he's got to talk to another serial killer. And I'm like, oh, would be super fucking cool. Like, if he would go and talk to, I guess, a precursor Joker in a way.
Yeah, like it's not the Joker that we know of yet. But still, the fact that he's there, or the fact that they even have history, I wanted to see that. That's
what the history. I want to know: is it still Batman's fault directly of, like, the ledge breaking?
Yes.
Is that still the origin of this one, or are we doing a mysterious, like, random chemical accident? Because his face also looked pretty messed up.
I almost thought it was going to be either Victor's what's his name?
Victor Zsasz.
I thought it was going to be either Victor Zsasz or Clayface. Like, I don't know, or even Two-Face. Sorry,
I was like
Two-Face.
I was gonna say Clayface is good, but yeah, my fiance said Two-Face.
Yeah,
she's by the way the hair was fleshed out.
Yeah, it actually looked like that mohawk.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, and that's what I thought. My thing was it looks like I think they specifically say the Batman Who Laughs, but the one that I referenced was Death in the Family.
Death in the Family.
Death in the Family is the one where his face is just ripped off completely and then stapled back on, essentially.
Which I mean, in terms of insanity, I don't understand why anybody
that was a whole arc. That's a whole different can of worms. Worth a read, though. Definitely worth a read to see how he got from that point to ripping his face off and then coming back, and it's a whole thing.
Okay, but definitely that was the one.
But that's what it looked like to me, because his face, because of how because it looked like it was way up here, like stretched, pulled, and everything. So, and the only time that I've ever seen that is when he was like, "All right, I got to smile," and he pulled his chin and was like. And just stapled his shit together.
So, it's so creepy.
That was nuts.
Somebody would do that.
Right.
I mean, that's comic books for you. Still, it's wild.
And I would love to see that, though.
Oh, that would be cool.
And with the way the Riddler set the tone of this movie, I could see them going that dark.
Oh, I mean, I'm
at least
there
visually.
For it. Like, I'm so there for it.
Yeah.
I mean, I would have a hard time sleeping.
Right.
For sure.
Oh, yeah. Easily.
Yeah.
That's one of those sleep with the night lights on for a bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, you know what I forgot to touch on is actually we go to that funeral scene. After we get the Mayor Mitchell killed, and then Pete Savage is also killed. Mm-hmm. We get to that funeral scene, which, out of context, when I first saw it online...
Yep.
I thought, I didn't like the tone or what was going on because it's out of context.
Yeah.
When you see it in the movie, Jesus.
It fits really well.
Yes.
I mean, that, and then like the scene that it literally leads into is just intense and it's heavy.
Yeah, and then you get to see Bruce Wayne finally out for the first time out in public. Everyone's like, oh, there he is.
Right, yep.
Yeah, and then he gets in there and he's just looking, listening, analyzing, not even engaging anybody. And somebody else brought this up too, on the John Campea show, which is like a movie podcast blog. Robert Pattinson's Batman, and even the whole Bruce Wayne, is more of an alien character.
Yeah.
Super detached from not only society,
right,
but from humanity.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you can see that right when he gets out of the car, because like they're like, oh my god, Bruce Wayne, and he's sitting there, and he kind of gives like a slight glance and like a kind of like like he didn't want to smile, but he's like, I'll give a smirk just for the sake of so he gives like kind of like smirk, but then it immediately goes away. And then like the cameras are right here and he literally turns his back to them. Of like, that's not the Bruce Wayne that everybody's typically used to. They're used to, hey, how you doing? Like,
sexy,
that's
like
our
suave
exactly. That's our golden boy. That's our hot, handsome, sexy like billionaire that's up in the tower. But this isn't him.
And what did you think of that portrayal of this detached Bruce Wayne? Because to me, like I said, I'm not used to this.
I enjoyed it because he just got back. This is year 2.
Yes.
Think about it. Year 2 after being gone for 10.
Yes.
At that point, like, I mean, if you and I don't talk for 10 years and then all of a sudden we're just like, hey, you guys are going to do a podcast together. Now we're sitting here awkwardly across from each other, like,
what are we talking about?
So... how you been?
Yeah.
Like it's gonna be weird.
Yeah,
it's gonna be short. It's gonna be kind of awkward for it.
Right.
But at that point, like if we now hang out every day for the next 2-3 years, we're gonna slowly have more in common again. Or not more in common, but realize what we have more in common again.
Okay. Yeah.
And our experiences are gonna be like similar because we're gonna start hanging out.
So
our
this
foods
is really
are gonna be the same.
too.
I think it's gonna be. Yeah, I think he's gonna grow into a Bruce Wayne that loves Gotham and Gotham loves him.
And do you think that is actually necessary for the Bruce Wayne character to be someone that's kind of like known as that character, or does he have to be something, is that part of the mythos that is also part of Batman as well? There's Bruce Wayne. You know
yeah, I mean? I would say in the charm sense, I wouldn't say he has to be a playboy all the time.
Right.
So you can I'd say he definitely can lean more into the charming style of it.
Right.
Which is something I feel like what is it? Val Kilmer kind of knocked on more.
Val Kilmer nailed that.
His was more charming than he was like out there for the ladies. Like he was Bruce Wayne doing Bruce Wayne stuff. Like with the whole business thing of like how he was talking to Riddler for the first time. He's just like people gotta come first and all that kind of stuff. I mean, George Clooney did it too, but he was also right next to his like trophy wife at the time. Yeah, like, it's not like the best scenario for Bruce Wayne in my opinion. Absolutely. I like the Bruce Wayne that's calm and people going to him because they know he's gonna help try to change the world or change the city or change something.
And that's the thing, we barely get to see any of that. Any Bruce Wayne, it's very rarely hinted in this movie. Right. It's more of a Batman movie, which I'm fucking there for. But I still need to know Bruce Wayne as a character, because there's no character there. It's always Batman all the time, which is how I felt it should be.
No, yeah. Well, I mean, for a movie of what this was, it definitely should be. I feel like for the second one, however, they did set up a lot of good openings to kind of show a personal side of where Robert Pattinson could go as a Bruce Wayne.
And he can handle all of that in spades, I know for sure. And then, after that, there's a great scene where Bruce Wayne the boy is right there again, and he sees the boy. The boy looks back at him for just some by chance. Yep. And then they have this another connection that's there. He's at the funeral for his parents. Dude, it hit so hard watching that in theaters.
Yep. I'm obviously everyone I'm hoping or I'm insinuating is thinking it, but that's kid's gonna be either Robin or somebody down the line. It's gotta be.
I mean, most likely, dude, the seeds are there.
Right. Like I just with them not talking in either context, when he was in Batman suit or when he wasn't in Batman suit, they haven't said anything to each other. Yeah. All they've done is lock eyes. Yeah. At that point, I'm like, it's one of those subliminal things of like, I've locked eyes with somebody else really intensely like this before, but you weren't him. Yeah. Are you?
Yeah. Like, that's what I'm saying.
It's like that whole thing.
Matt Reeves, that's what I'm saying. The kid never has a line. Yep. The way he sets him up, it's not even a nuisance, or it doesn't even feel like it's out of place.
It feels natural,
Natural.
It feels like this kid should be in this scene. Like, it feels like I should notice him somewhere. Like, this is his dad's funeral.
And throughout the 3 times that he does show up, man, like I said, this kid doesn't say a word, but you can tell now what this means to Bruce Wayne. And that's what I'm saying. The way that Robert Pattinson handles this funeral scene, that to me is what sold me on him as the Batman character. He's not in the cowl, and even in the cowl, it's much harder performance because you still like seeing this whole thing. But the way he's like really looking, taking everything in, and his facial expressions.
Yep, he's consistently diagnosing what's going on. Like it doesn't make things make sense to him, but he's wondering like what's gonna be the thing that goes wrong. Like I feel like he's always worried about the next thing in that sense.
And that's where the car comes in, and he immediately books it towards the kid.
Knows that kid's gonna get targeted. I don't know if he knows that kid's gonna get targeted, but he definitely noticed the kid moved into the direction that the car was gonna be moving.
It almost felt really weirdly planned there. Like, I mean, the Riddler was just kind of like, oh, just here's your foot in the gas, just go. Like
I almost thought originally it was going to be like a remote control thing. Because like when he looked up and saw like the silhouette again, the silhouettes in the movie are insane.
Honestly, that gave me chills. Seeing Paul Dano's Riddler without a mask, just there,
and so you can see like the shimmer of the glasses and everything like that. Like that was so creepy. But him seeing him, and then like that made me think, oh shit, this car is remote controlled. Like it's just gonna like go right to this kid. Right. Like, that's what I thought.
And then you pointed it out. If this kid does turn out to be like a Robin, the seeds are there, and this kid is scarred for life now.
Oh yeah,
it's over for this kid.
I mean, he walked in on his dad when his dad was dead without a thumb, like all that other shit, and then now you've seen this big thing where this guy came out the thing with the big bomb in his hand. Like,
I feel so bad.
My life is kind of dark at that point. I mean, the other thing is, I don't know what or which Robin he would be more like, because this kid's last name is Mitchell.
Right.
As opposed to Drake, Grayson.
And even in The Dark Knight Returns, I forget the girl's name, the one that plays the Robin, that Robin, I forget her name.
Kelly was her name.
Yeah.
Her Carrie Kelly.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. There's always a new interpretation. If he were to be one, the seeds are there.
Right. Maybe it'd be a new hero. I don't know. I don't know if there's another hero with a Mitchell name.
Well, we get to it later on in the movie, but they do reference Bloodhaven, as we were saying.
Yep.
I mean, what do you know of Bloodhaven? I don't know much about it, but I know that Nightwing resides in that.
That's thing. Nightwing's domain, yeah.
Yes.
Typically, we don't find out about a Bloodhaven-ish like city until like later on when he's like, I'm going to do my own thing. So maybe we're going to see. Maybe we're skipping like this rendition because this is technically Earth 2. Right. That's the other side of it. Like before all the theories go crazy.
Okay.
This like the Batman is set in Earth 2. Right. That's the way that we're getting away with it not being in the DCEU.
Okay.
Is that the DC like Justice League, Zack Snyder's Justice League, all that's in Earth 1.
Right. In continuity with the movies, not the comics. Right?
Exactly. Okay. Right. Whereas this one is Earth 2. Everything that happens. So like it's their own thing at this point.
And this is why
it's what they want to do.
Do you think there's going to be a lot of confusion? I mean, just for the general movie audience, for me, I mean, I can't really speak for me because like I know everything that's going on now.
Right.
But do you think there's going to be a lot of confusion with that going on?
There always is. Right. I do personally feel like the Flash will touch up on that a little bit.
Yes.
Because if you follow DC things, the Flash every couple years will do something like that, where they'll connect every universe, or they'll reset things, or they'll literally go in depth on an explanation of like why there are like so many of one kind of thing, kind of like the same way that where Doctor Strange did with Spider-Man.
Okay.
But like we've had like the Flashpoint paradox already happen. We've had in the comics there's Crisis of Infinite Earths. Flash resets the timeline that time. Like going back even further to the golden age of like when we had like the big war.
Oh yeah.
Like Infinite War. Like he reset the timeline then. Like it happens every like couple like decades.
Okay.
Just to I feel like bring everybody kind of back together. Like this is what's going on. Just so you guys are all aware.
And that's what I'm saying. I think the movies. Well, Flash is really going to set a lot of things moving forward for DCU.
Yeah.
But I think it's gonna. I don't think it's gonna be that too jarring for people. Like going on, it's like, oh, didn't we just have a Batman movie?
Yeah. I don't think so either. I think we'll be more prepared for it.
Right.
The reason for Bloodhaven though is I don't think that we'll see a Dick Grayson. Mm-hmm. Well, maybe not in Matt Reeves' version.
Right.
If we do, maybe we'll see a Dick Grayson that is already preferred as like Nightwing. As opposed to like somebody that he has to like kind of understudy all the way up.
Right.
And then this kid Mitchell will be a new kind of like the first Robin in a sense.
Right.
That'd be kind of cool. I'd be super down for that as like a new first Robin.
So you would rather, or how do I say this? You would like the idea of having that than having, well, what would you think of just having a Batman movie by itself? All of them. Or just having all these Batman characters now, the Batman family being established.
I would love for a Batman family to be established.
Okay.
Because it hasn't been.
It hasn't been.
We've done Batman and Robin from like the old one, which is still just Batman and Dick Grayson.
Yes.
And then we've had The Dark Knight, which we tiptoed it with Joseph Gordon-Levitt a little bit. Yeah. But we haven't had that full on, and we had obviously George Clooney with Chris O'Donnell and everything like that. But we haven't had like that paired with Robin and a Nightwing and a Batwoman and a Batgirl, because Batgirl's technically in obviously the DCEU now.
Yeah.
But references could happen and things like that.
This is what I'm saying. That's like this Flashpoint movie is really gonna do. It's gonna get like really set in stone. Who knows what could happen in that movie?
Right.
It's gonna open this giant can of worms.
It's gonna. So many questions are gonna be asked. So many questions are probably gonna be answered. Honestly.
Yes.
But I know a big one will obviously be like, will they inevitably be connected eventually?
Yes.
I know Matt Reeves at this time has no intention of bringing in Superman or Green Arrow or like Flash into like Robert Pattinson's universe.
Right.
Because and I quote, like I said, he's literally focused on just making a Batman verse is what he said. And I just want to build that.
I mean, I'm so down for just just a standalone Batman.
Oh yeah.
But if there's hints of like I said, if the little kid turns out to be something, I'm there for it.
Yeah, right.
Because I can tell. I mean, from the tone of this movie, from the promise, it just seems like there's nothing but good things coming out of this thing.
That's what, like he's building connections with people.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. Moving on from there, dude, we get to we talked about the car chase scene already, and there pretty much gets revealed to be the point that Falcone is the rat.
Right.
As in the rat, the person that ratted out
the Maroni
case, and is responsible for everything, and now runs Gotham secretly.
Yeah.
And is the go-to person, basically filling in that spot of the Penguin, who the Penguin's going to take over later on with his own series. But I mean, I didn't think that John Turturro. I never really liked John Turturro in other stuff, like in Transformers. Mm-hmm. But when you take him out of Transformers and put him in anything else, he did connect.
He is a very solid actor. I don't think being a serious comic.
Yeah,
kind of hit the head. This role was definitely a lot stronger.
Yes.
I feel like his presence in terms of intimidation was a lot higher.
Yes. And then Catwoman, we get that scene where the scaffolding, where Catwoman's got Kenzie on the scaffold, and she's about to basically kill him or whatever. Mm-hmm. We got revealed this whole revelation, and then Bruce Wayne is like, okay, did Falcone? What's going on with Falcone? Did he kill my parents or not? Or what's there's just a lot of revelations there, and like I said, I really do like it that they kept it anonymous.
Yeah, right.
Bruce goes to visit Alfred again, and he's like, did he do this? After we get to see all of that stuff, did Carmine Falcone do it? And he's like, I wish I knew. And
I generally don't know.
Yeah,
like I know, I like that he is probably 90% sure. He's like, I mean, I can lean on that way. I know that this fact happened, and this fact happened.
Yes.
But I can't say for sure.
And that's the thing. It sucks because everything is there, but you still don't know.
Yeah.
And we'll never know. Maybe in this universe, we'll probably never know.
I don't see us finding out personally. I feel like we'll leave it where it lie in that sense.
Absolutely,
pun intended.
Just like that. And then that's the thing. For me, this movie, like I said, could have had some scenes either extended or shortened, but I wanted to see more of Alfred. I feel like we did get cut off of Alfred pretty soon. Granted, I love the relationship that they have together because I want to see where it grows. Yes. But I do feel like it got cut off at the point right when they had that little reconnect moment. Yep. Of I didn't think I was going to lose someone that I cared about, and then they kind of had that moment. Yes. We didn't see Alfred again for the rest of the movie at that point. Even at the ending, we didn't see him bringing tea or anything like that. Yeah. And I would have liked, and it's weird, the first time I got out of this movie, I feel like it's empty. But then when I saw it again, Alfred's role is already served. There's plenty of Alfred in there to, unfortunately, yes, he gets the bomb, unfortunately, on him. Right. And he gets sent to the hospital. And I thought they killed Alfred. No. I thought that the first time. I'm like, wow. Genuinely, yep. Bold. I was like, okay, we're gonna move into the other one, which is funny because so the old lady, she's probably old, Doris, I think. Doris. Yeah. Direct homage to Adam West. Oh, that is from the 1960s? If you watch any of the 1960s ones, that's their Alfred's there as the server, yes, but then there's the housekeeper. Because unfortunately, it is what it is. The 60s, not the best time for people everywhere, right, including women. So they typecasted her in that sense of who's going to be our the person that upkeeps the house. It's going to be this female, and it was Doris. And so she would walk around, and she had no idea that Bruce Wayne was Batman, no idea that Burt Ward was, and anything like that. So she played the nonchalant character. What? So it was really kind of funny for me to see her in this movie because I'm like, that's literally the old lady that has no idea about anything. And she doesn't even know. And she doesn't. So when he calls her and he goes, Doris, I need to talk to Alfred, in his Batman outfit, that theoretically, it kind of happened in the 66 version. There would be moments where he'd call from the Batmobile, right, and she would answer, and he'd have to talk to Alfred about some Batman thing and have to make up a whole reason about them being on a fishing trip and needing Alfred's help on something or whatever. So she's completely out of the dark on this. She's oblivious on everything. So it was for me, it was cool to see that aspect of it. But Alfred got the bomb though. What do you think that her character can do in the future of this franchise? It's one of those things of it's the subliminal of Aunt May knowing that Peter is Spider-Man. Okay. So
okay, Peter's not going to tell Aunt May, but Aunt May can help him in that sense of like, I can cover you sometimes, and I can make up an excuse. And so, like, if he doesn't directly tell her, if unfortunately, God willing, nothing happens to her,
right?
I assume that it's one of those things of she'll know. They won't tell her, but she'll know, kind of things of like she'll hint. Like,
okay.
It'll be one of those kind of background, like she'll bring him like meds and wondering why he has a migraine at like 9 in the morning when he didn't do anything last night. But like he'll make up some. She's like, I went skiing yesterday, and she'll be like, oh, okay.
So that's kind of her character. Then she's more of like this in between person, or this this person that handles more of like this. Just cleaning the house.
She's the passerby. She's right. So I don't know if, like I said, she'll be in the second one, but I know it was a good homage to the '66 version.
Wow. So this movie does do a lot.
It has so many references, and it's really good. I loved it. I loved it.
And then we get to finally, after going through all that, Catwoman goes to Carmine Falcone, and she tries to kill her father.
Yep.
Which gets revealed to us, and then this is continuity with the comics as well, I believe. That, or in some places, we talked about it really early on, but yeah. Catwoman's father is Carmine Falcone.
Yep.
Like,
yeah.
So that's
that. It's not something that I've seen a lot happen, just because I don't know if it's a thing that people like or not.
Right.
But I mean, I'm all right with it. I don't need it in the movie, I would say.
Absolutely.
Because I'd be fine if she just knew him because of her mom in that sense, because it sounds like her mom was into some bad stuff, unfortunately.
Some things there, yeah.
Which Falcone is the head of bad stuff, so I'd be fine in that sense.
Right.
It definitely pulls her character in more.
Yes, more vulnerable for sure.
Well, because then she had that to then throw in Robert Pattinson's face.
Yes.
That like, he's my father, that's why I'm doing all of this. Like, it's not just he's an asshole and he's running the crime syndicate.
Right.
He literally owes me because he left me to child services.
And
like,
now going back to that scene of the drop where she's with Penguin or whatever, or like, getting that money. She's just there to get her money then.
Yeah.
That makes more sense.
She's literally just there for the money of it. Like, that's why she's watching Penguin so much, because she's not watching Penguin as so much as she's watching Falcone.
Just watching. Okay, see, this is...
She's stealing. I'm
so glad
she's becoming Catwoman. Like, that's why I'm like, I'm not afraid of the mask. The mask was fine. She's broke. She's becoming Catwoman now.
Yes. And that's when you really take that, that's what I'm saying. When you really take these elements, it's just year 2 of Batman, barely beginning, a lot of mistakes going on, a lot of interesting things being established. I think the movie just gets much, much better every time I think about it that way. It's just, they really did their homework and they really established everything moving forward.
Yeah, I think they laid a lot of good opportunities open.
Yes.
For just at home with Bruce Wayne, as Batman, with his gadgets, with Selina, with Gordon.
Yes.
With the city now recognizing him as Batman.
Yep.
They leave a lot of good opportunities for that.
Absolutely. So now Batman comes and saves Selina from before getting killed. He was choking her out or whatever, so he comes over. Great scene. Like I said, the way that he handles the third entrance of the Iceberg Lounge.
Right.
Ninja Batman.
Yep.
Whoops,
right. Just gone.
Yeah.
He's in there before the twins even know he's there.
Yeah. Yeah. Just like that. That's what I'm saying. Like every single time it gets revisited, insane. Yeah, he goes up, bullet show. I like that scene a lot when he's just getting fired on.
Yep. That hallway of bullets.
That was, and then that's the thing. Okay, another thing I wanted to point out: kill count.
I don't necessarily know how many people he died how many people he killed versus like just knocked out.
Yes.
I know, like, there are people that guarantee they're dead. Yep. Like, because his car went through it, or he like ricocheted a bullet, or like he ricocheted a gun, or he just literally just beat the crap out of him.
And I think this is the biggest misconception about Batman. Obviously, he doesn't kill because you cross that line, you become the villain.
Right.
But it's not the difference between like actually you killing someone and you like just by circumstance you turn your head, a bullet meant for you goes to somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
not me, right?
Exactly.
Or even like you shoot at me, my armor is strong enough to deflect that, and it ricochets and hits one of your, like, that's not, you shot at me. Like,
yes,
I'm wearing armor. Not my fault.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I think people's biggest misconception is, and I could be wrong on this, but he's not grabbing someone by the throat, or he's not punching someone so hard in the face that they like literally get their nose caved in and they're dead.
Right.
You know
I mean, the comics he does, but we don't. Yeah.
Exactly.
But they still don't die in that. It's exaggeration for the photo.
Yes.
Right.
And even in the Arkham games, it's like, dude, the Batman is there to break your fingers.
Literally, like right,
whatever it is.
And for me, the whole like no kill thing, I get it, I understand it. In context, it makes sense of like, Batman has a no kill because his parents were killed, all this other kind of stuff.
Yes.
I'm also a person that would prefer to try to move forward in terms of comic book, not an originality, but like what his character is. Like, no, he, like you said, he doesn't directly. I'm not gonna go with the intent that I'm gonna kill these people.
Right.
But at the same time, if they die while I'm doing that, I can't help that. Like, I'm also not gonna like try super hard to make sure that they don't die.
Yeah, his job, his responsibility is just to get his job done.
Get his job done, protect whoever he needs to protect, like get Gotham safe again. It's one of those things. It's like nobody asks the other heroes not to kill in that sense. They only just make sure that Batman doesn't kill. It's like, why? Eventually, it's gonna have to get to that point, whether it's direct or indirect. Like, it's just gonna have to happen.
And weirdly enough, I never saw it that way until people were just telling me that. Like, oh, Batman doesn't kill. It's like I never saw it that way. I saw it the way you just said it right there.
I was like, Batman doesn't kill. People definitely die around Batman.
Yeah,
like, like people definitely die around this man.
That's
a
what
lot.
I'm saying,
like,
and I much more see that in line of just the way you put it. It's like he's just the guy that just has to get this done.
Right. I mean, sure. Also, like, Batman doesn't kill. Yeah, Batman doesn't kill in the cartoons.
Yeah.
Batman doesn't kill on, I guess, the live screen
like
directly.
Movie,
like, but he has. Like,
that's what I'm saying.
You can't tell me that he doesn't blow up a whole like city block.
Yeah.
And there's not a few casualties, like goon or otherwise.
Exactly.
Like,
and those are intentional versus like other stuff.
Exactly. You know what I mean? Like there are times like Michael Keaton. I think his is like 23.
Yeah,
I think his kill count or something like that.
Yeah.
But he literally like directly like kicks a guy into the sewer and chucks the grenade down there.
Yeah.
You think the grenade that was intended for Batman was just going to be like a firework?
Yeah,
no,
exactly. No,
that was going to kill him. Like, that dude is dead.
That's what I'm saying. It's like I never understood that, like, that rationale. People was like, he just doesn't kill. Like, I don't like that Batman. Like, I don't know if you know.
Right.
I mean, I barely know the comics, and yet I know that this is a Batman that that's supposed to be like that.
Exactly right, and Batman didn't always not kill either. It's like his first renditions, he had guns on both hips. So like, there's some trial and error with this. Like,
absolutely.
Like, I mean, Arrow also played off of that really hard too, though. The Arrow TV show showcased how, like, in the beginning there's a learning curve on that. So like, Arrow was also killing in the beginning, and then I can't do that as much if I want to change things around what's going on.
And that, I think Arrow did the show justice more in that sense, because you get to see that transformation.
Right.
And here we're just boom.
Right.
We're
exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's something that we can see with Robert Pattinson's is like that brutality that he had in his fighting style and the way he was handling business, like jumping through the smoke when he was like, fa fa fa, and he like broke this dude's arm and like broke his nose and smacked him against the pole. Like, I don't know if we'll see that brutality later on in the series. I think it'll be more swift, just 1, 2, and he's done. Like, when he snuck in and he went into like the emergency hatch.
Yes.
And then like dude came in and he was like 1, 2.
Yep.
Like that. Oh, it was so clean and it was so done. And he moved on real quick.
That was it. Yeah.
That was so efficient, and I think we'll see more of that.
And that's what I'm saying. When we get to now this final action scene, which to me is my favorite, and to people, a lot of people don't really like where this heads, and I don't understand that. This third act, for a lot of people, it falls off. It still hits the landing for them, but for me, I think it still hits, and it excels completely. And now thinking about it much more, we find out that Riddler obviously is exposing everybody from the city and the corrupt and everything, and he plans to bomb the city essentially to flood it.
Right.
And I'm like, at first I'm like, why do you want to flood the city? But then I thought about it more of like like a gospel, more religious sense, cleansing the city.
It's a cleanse, yeah. And he's getting rid of the vermin and the filth, essentially, yeah. And
it makes sense. And then it gets to the point where it's like he has a following who's now going to help him accomplish his task, because now he's arrested,
right?
And since he can't be there, people will be there to now make sure that this renewal thing that who's the new president again, or the new I forget
Bella,
Bella
Mayor Bella something,
let's call her Bella for sure. She gets she's still talking about the renewal. She's still talking about like
she's still determined that it's false, that it was used wrong, incorrectly. Like,
now leading up to this scene, do you believe that the Riddler's plan up to that point, I mean, unmasking is part of his plan, but do you think killing the mayor or killing the new mayor, the new everybody that's there, do you think that's part of the plan too, or do you think that kind of felt forced? What do you think?
I would say that wasn't necessarily. It was one of those collateral damages kind of thing. Because so the Riddler obviously plans everything out.
Yes.
And then there's that certain gray area of like, stuff will happen.
Yeah.
Like it's always gonna kind of happen. He probably categorized it under that of like, maybe the mayor might get tagged or Gordon might get hit. Or like, if it happens, it happens. But like, we need the cleanse to happen. Like he was on the side of I'm done with everything.
Right.
I don't think he directly would have shot her. No.
Right.
Personally, like because she's not corrupt. She is trying to expose it.
Yeah. She's
just in a better light than he is. So I don't think he would have shot. I think that's where the misconception kind of came in. Like kind of what they did with Joker. How like Joker like he took the fall. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, all these people that were like idolizing Joker kind of came out of nowhere, and they kind of made a bigger scene of it. Yes. I think that was, but I also thought it was really cool. I like the goon aspect of like, now he's got all these goons that are following him, and they want to do what he wants to do.
Right. Now, what do you think that what's supposed to happen there then with all these people? The Riddler's following is on now this. It's on top of the beams or whatever, and they have their guns. They're ready to take out people. But what do you think that plan was supposed to be there?
I don't actually. I mean, I don't really know. I mean, I think when he was thinking to take out the people, he was just elected officials.
Yeah.
He knew the flood was probably gonna wipe everybody else out.
Yeah.
But it could have been one of those things. Maybe he just was like, everybody's gonna go to the garden, and then the garden's also gonna flood and fill out. And then he even knew that the followers were gonna die.
Yeah.
Maybe he was counting on that. That all the people that were like idolizing him and following him because he wanted him and the Batman to be in Arkham together.
Yes, just see the
that was his intention, which means he expected everyone else to die. Like
yes,
at that point, so it's like you didn't even like you're following, you didn't even respect at that point. Yeah. Like you're like, oh well, they're all crazy.
Well, the way I saw it, and the way I saw it in the spoiler Easter egg thing video too, is that like the way I rationale this whole thing, because it is a different thing that's now happening. Batman now has to go and save the new mayor in this whole election because of what's going to be happening here. Is that these goons are there to cleanse, like part of obviously the cleanse or whatever, flooding the gate is done on election night, where everybody that's there for the officials, like everyone that's going to be like the new mayors or whatever, like part of the mayor campaign, are going to go into a building that's heavily, it's meant to hold all of these people, and it's meant to like house perfectly, like for the situation. It's like it was perfectly planned.
Right.
And the way I saw it is, if we think about it as a cleanse of the city being drowned and covered in water or whatever, I think of that of like, you can't continue this campaign of renewal. You have to end this and start something fresh.
Yep, it has to be. You have to drop renewal as a whole.
Yes, as a whole. Like regardless of who's right or wrong. So that's where I think that those Riddler goons are there to like. I mean, it's terrible. Right. That's not the way, obviously, we should be thinking.
No, yeah, but it's definitely a better way to look at it.
Yes. And that was the way it was just like, oh, no, we got to... This when I figured that out, I'm like, okay, this actually makes more sense of like
closing the book.
Exactly. And then now my favorite scene, Mayor the new Mayor Bella gets shot, and then Gordon comes up, picks her up.
Right.
And then Gordon looks up at the beam. This is the classic Batman moment.
Right.
Classic. Yep. Peril is at its pinnacle peak. People are gonna die.
People are literally being shot down right now.
And then now I don't know how this happens though. This is another thing. Is like, did one grenade happen? Did Batman put like a bunch of things? All we know is that a bunch of bombs go off on the top of the ceiling, the glass ceiling, and he just drops down like a badass.
Yeah, that I believe that was him planting, because it's him coming down through one glass panel is a distraction for like the guy that's above him probably.
Yes.
But such a big explosion, it pulls everyone's eye up.
Yeah.
Because then at that point when he came down and just started just jacking people up.
I love this scene.
Oh so my much. God. He just comes in, just Debo's like left and right.
Yeah.
Like one after another. He's taking guns, he's smacking people's faces.
Yes.
Like he's there to save and make sure that everybody's okay at that point.
Yes. Now obviously, glass does fall on people. That glass could definitely kill a bunch of people.
I assume that if there anybody below, sorry.
Yeah. Well, sorry. You just happen to be there.
Your insurance got it.
Yeah. There you go. And that's what I'm saying. This scene is so, to me, that's the Batman scene. That is the scene. Like, he's saving the city now, and he's doing it the way that I would love Batman. And that's what I'm saying. Every time I see this movie, it just gets better and better, because that landing. Now that I know this backstory of like this third act now, of what the Riddler's goons are actually going to do now, cleansing the city and Batman coming to save it, is what makes this movie superior. And all
him literally defying the plan that Riddler had in place. That was the other thing that that made, I guess, that whole conversation between him and Riddler like cool for me.
Yes,
was that in the comics and cartoons and any rendition that you see of the Riddler, when Batman finally like defies what Riddler's supposed to like had the plan in place for,
right?
And Riddler doesn't understand. He's just like, no. He has that, like, that breakdown of like,
I love that scene.
Yeah, I had everything planned out. Like, that's such a true to the core character moment of like just. No, what you're not supposed to. You're supposed to do this. You always do this. Like in those moments, it was cool to see.
It's such a good moment.
But having Robert Pattinson have that awakened moment of like, no, I'm gonna go save everybody, and drop down and genuinely handle business. On top of the Jumbotron, that was super cool. Yeah,
that's insane, dude.
Having him. Because I don't know how like the bombs go off and everything when he is on the Jumbotron, but having him hang off the side and having Catwoman see him, having him look, because Gordon at that point already had his whole like, how do I get up there? Which is really funny to me just because I'm like, you think any of these guys know?
It's like,
well, then the fireman knew, I guess. That was cool. I was like, all right, cool. The fireman knew. I'm like, how do you know? But
sure, backstage passes, I guess.
Like, you're right, but seeing Selena like walk up and then like realize that kind of she has to do something to help him because he's literally dangling off the side of this Jumbotron trying to do anything for the city right now.
And this wasn't like a polarizing thing for me. When I saw her look up, I could just tell in her face, dude, Batman means something to her. Yeah, right. Like, it was all felt romantic. Like it felt so great that you get to see that. Yep. And even before when they share their on-screen kiss the first time, and Batman's little little scaffolding thing where he has the bat signal or whatever. There's a lot of, I could just take that movie, just pause it right there. Screensaver. That's I mean, that's literally the screenshot on my phone is that whole scene. It's just. Again, the silhouettes of the movie, the lighting, the color source, like the what they're actually using is so good, just to showcase like the way that those characters are feeling. Yeah, very wild, man. And when I saw that conviction in her face, like, oh, that's my boy. Yeah, right. And she goes up and she like, this whole scene, man. There's so much that just. It pays off for me. Yeah, it was nice to see the change in her character of like she doesn't want to do something for herself anymore. Now she's doing something for somebody else. Yes, and it's validated. You can see these actors are just killing it. Yeah, right. And they had great chemistry in terms of between Batman and Catwoman on screen. And that's what I was gonna say. That chemistry that he shares with her, I bought it. Mm-hmm. It felt like again going back to the games. It felt like the games, the old style of like how they would be coy with each other, but like one likes the other one, and right when you think the one likes the one, and then they say something or do something different, and you're like, oh, maybe they don't. Like, it was a good play on how the characters are going to be. Yes, and I thought it was, like I said, one of the best ways ever portrayed on screen to me. Batman and Catwoman. Right. I want to see more of that. Yep. I need, if they have another Batman movie and she's not in it as like, I would feel like there's something missing, man. It would be a little sad. It would be. Even if it's like, oh, well, she's doing something to like come back in the third one, like cool, but like something's missing. It generally would feel like a hole is there. Like even if she were to pop in at the very end for any random reason, like it's just she should be in it. And I even love this little ending too, where like he's saying goodbye to her, like before like they start taking off on the bikes or whatever. After that scene, the fight scene, she's coming up like, come with me to Bloodhaven, and it's like. He looks up at the sky. There's the bat signal. She's like, well, you're spoken for. And then he like leans in. Right. It's a subtle lean. It's so small, but then like it doesn't happen. But then that's why I like, because that's the chemistry of like Batman would almost do something like that, because I feel like that's where we were. But then Catwoman would be like, nah, because we're gonna separate. So like she'd put that wall up of like power in that sense. Like she's controlling the relationship in that sense. And that's the thing, though. Like in the comics, obviously, like Batwoman has this relationship with Catwoman, but They get married even in the comics, I believe, right? And at one point, because they're destined.
Well, they've tried a couple of times. She runs a lot.
A lot.
She runs a lot.
A lot.
She runs a lot.
But that's like the woman. Besides, like what's it called? Ra's al Ghul's daughter,
Talia.
Besides Talia, I feel like Catwoman, Selena Kyle, is the one meant for Batman. Do you agree with that? Or what do you think?
I would say it's Selena Kyle. Yeah. Most of the time, I would hope that it'd be like a Wonder Woman, because I like the idea of Wonder Woman and Batman together.
I buy that 100%.
I love the idea of that.
Yes.
But if I were to choose in like Batman's universe, it'd be Selena, because she's kind of like his opposite in that sense. Because she's just in it for the petty thievery, but now she's actually helping people, and she is more than what people see her as in that sense. Yes,
and even before, when Batman goes to save, or he pulls Carmine Falcone off of Selena before he was going to kill her, he takes that, the way he handles her, he takes that gun, he's like, you can't, like, you can't take this with you anymore. Like, this is it.
She's like, we gotta kill him, we gotta take it. And he's like, yeah, but don't do it with him, or something like that. Like, that was good.
It was beautiful, man.
It was one of those things of like, I've already taken a dark path, I don't want you to take a dark path too.
Yes, and that's where I'm like, dude, if these characters are not like in this romantic field, I don't know what else, because they went through the thick of it.
Yeah, right. Literally, those two I feel like would be these two characters I can see getting together further down the line.
Yes,
and being comfortable with that, or even if they're not together, they have that relationship of like, yeah, I know that she loves me, and she knows that I love her.
Yes,
but like, we're not together, kind of thing. I do know, like, that could probably happen.
Yep.
But either way, I want her in the movie as like a banter kind of person, because she would have that history of like,
oh, absolutely,
I knew you were Batman, which she also needs to find out. She needs to find out he's Bruce Wayne.
And in the comics, that is definitely established that she knows.
She knows. She has to, because every time he gets injured, he goes to her place.
Interesting. Like, you need a stitch.
Right, literally. Like you need some wounds, some bandages. Cool, we're just going to take off your mask then. Yeah. Like, it happens every time.
And that's the thing. I think Riddler really points this when he's Batman's on Arkham talking to Riddler. Everyone's trying to unmask Batman, but he knows this is the real Bruce Wayne. You
are unmasked right now. This is who you are as a person. You need to be this vigilante that's just breaking down justice. Yes. Like,
did you buy that in this movie? That this is the best portrayal of Batman, or what did you feel of this portrayal of Batman?
I think that this was the best portrayal of a younger Batman.
Okay,
I would, because again, I don't necessarily think that he's fully realized Batman yet.
Yes.
It's still him in his like younger stages of learning how to do that. Yep. And learning what Batman necessarily is going to be moving forward. Because, like I said, he was called Vengeance the whole movie.
Yes.
Until the very end, when he was talking about how, oh no, he thinks it's time for this to end. And Gordon's like, what? And he's like, the Batman. And I was like, that's the first time you've referenced yourself as the Batman the whole movie.
Yep, I agree.
So in that sense, I think it's moving forward. We'll call him the Batman, but it's because of the whole like, give me your hand scene.
Yes.
Like, after the big fight and everything, when he's genuinely saving the citizens of Gotham now. Yes. At this point,
becoming literally that beacon.
Because you like the flare and just walking through, like, and having everybody follow directly behind you. Like,
such a great. It still gives me the tingles, man.
I love that scene so much.
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't see, for me, that this misses the landing for people, because I feel like it really lands on everything they've established. Even from the beginning, the murder weapon, Batman figuring it out at the end of the last Riddler's clues. Everything is laid out perfectly.
Yep.
It's like it's meant. Everything is perfectly planned. I don't know. I feel like it really does a good job establishing everything from the top to bottom. It just requires a watch or two.
No, yeah,
there's a lot going on.
I would definitely say watch it a few times. Watch it once, watch it twice, maybe even third time. Like, watch it a couple times, and then genuinely diagnose and break down if you like it or not. Because the first time, it's going to be one of those, well, it's really long. Like, it's one of those kind of things. It's long, or it's slow, or one of those kind of things. But like, if you watch it, it's not meant to be a action-packed Batman movie.
Yes.
It was no way intended for that. That's not how they advertised it even. Like, they advertised it as like a really suspenseful kind of,
I was gonna say, suspense
drama
thriller,
movie. Yeah, like, it was, the commercials were all like stylized horror almost in a way. Like,
absolutely.
It was just, it didn't look like it was gonna be action packed all the time.
Yes, and then, like I said, going in that this is Batman's second, making a lot of mistakes, which we didn't even touch upon. He doesn't even know how to fly yet. How to glide through the air.
Yeah, my man needs the cape. He has no idea how to do that.
Every single time we've seen it in theaters, when he goes, I mean, I love that transformation. Like he puts on his cape.
Yeah,
is the squirrel suit.
Thing. And that's super cool. But everybody wants to see him obviously do the whole where he gets up on there, he dives off the building and just goes shoosh. Yeah, and his wings form bat wings. That's the coolest thing, obviously. But yeah, seeing this rendition where he basically throws the cape over himself and then tightens it and then spreads that out, and then that's a squirrel suit. Jumping off, he had it, nailed it. But then you can definitely tell he doesn't know how to fully fly yet. Yeah. Because him cracking his head.
And that's the thing. Every time that he opens the parachute, it gets caught on the subway railing or whatever.
I get what he was trying to do. He should have waited.
Yes,
it
was getting close.
He was trying to go under the bridge, close. And I'm like, why'd you try to go under the bridge?
Yeah,
over the bridge would have been better, and then land on top of the bus.
Dude, that smack. Every single time in every single theater is like, oof.
It's a doozy. Yeah. Just to be you're going perfectly, and then you're under the bridge, so everybody's like, cool, you made it, right? Yeah. And then you open your parachute and you stand straight up essentially, and then now you crack your head. I can't imagine. It's
wild to me, and that thing always hits, always has a reaction with the audience. Mm-hmm. But now we get to the ending, man. We already talked about it, but overall, what did you final thoughts on the Batman?
Final thoughts were it was really good. It left a lot of good questions.
Yes.
That I want answered, not necessarily questions of well, why did he do this?
Yes,
what is that?
Yeah.
It was more of ooh, I wonder if they'll do this.
Yes.
I wonder if this person will change into that. Or like I said, because we didn't even see Commissioner yet. Yep. Gordon. We have to see Alfred get out of the hospital and become a little bit more Alfred-like.
Yes.
We have to see Batman be Batman, obviously.
Yes, absolutely.
Batmobile got to be Batmobile. There's just so many things that I'm excited to see more Batarangs. We only saw one Batarang.
That's it.
And he didn't throw it either. He just took it off his chest and cut it, which looked amazing.
It was really cool.
But yeah, I would say overall, I would say it was very good. It was really good in terms of detective story-driven movie.
Right.
Which happened to have Batman in it.
Absolutely. And that's why this movie's up there is for me top 3. I love this movie. It's like I said, it's not a perfect movie because there are some things that I would have liked to either seen a little bit more fleshed out or just either shortened, little small. I'm really nitpicking in terms of that. But I love this movie because it's not only a Batman movie, but it's just a really amazingly well done Batman movie.
Yep.
Going back to thinking that it's an origin, a different way of an origin story for this, and just giving me goosebumps of where this is going to go. I'm there for it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm excited and I'm ready because it's like I said previously, it's a new kind of feel for a superhero Batman kind of movie.
Yes,
and I want more of the same kind of style.
Oh, absolutely. And I cannot wait for this Penguin show. Which I don't even know. And then there's another Arkham show. It's Arkham more is gonna be featured Arkham Asylum as another spin-off show.
Right. Yep. I saw that. We have that paired with because I know they were gonna do another GCPD kind of
another
drama on HBO. So I was
I didn't even know about that.
Cool. We're gonna do. Yeah, it's literally Arkham, Penguin, and the GCPD.
Everything could just start coming together. I'm getting.
Yeah,
giddy, man.
I think they're trying to build a universe.
Yes,
I'm here for it finally.
And dude, this movie, just to kind of close off these thoughts here, obviously it opened on Monday, and now we're in the weekend. This is weekend box office for Batman.
Yeah, right.
It is crushing right now.
Yeah, on Thursday it pulled 21.3 million or something like that.
Yeah.
That's I don't know if that counts the Tuesday drop release.
I don't think so. No,
I don't think so either.
Yeah, I think it just counts the weekend because if it does, then it would be either seven something or whatever.
Right.
I know it's in the 5s right now, and it's just going up and up.
Yeah, I think we're last night when I saw it was at 29 million.
Yeah,
and I was like, that's awesome.
Yeah. And I've seen this 3 times. I need to see it maybe one more time.
I would love for this to hit $1 billion.
Yeah,
because then that would change how people view DC movies. Because everybody just shits on them because of the whole Marvel effect. Which, don't get me wrong, Marvel movies are great.
Yeah,
they're very flashy.
Yeah.
And that's not what this movie is.
Not at all. And it's its own beast. I mean, even Joker was its own beast. And I mean, that movie, nobody would have thought would have made $1 billion.
No, and that movie was it was done artistically so well.
To me, that movie's a masterpiece for me.
It showcased a lot of good points of just the psychosis of the Joker.
Yes. That's why it's such a broad and visceral character. The Joker one is. If they're gonna do that as a villain, I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There's so many ways they can do it.
Make him that deep and that rooted to everything that we can feel kind of connected to a character in that sense. Like people can relate to that same character. Maybe not fully, obviously, hopefully.
Right.
But to certain aspects of the Joker, everybody can relate, I feel like.
Absolutely. And last thing, we talked about obviously either Joker being the possibly either in this Batman movie or the next one or even the one after. Mm-hmm. But what would you want to see as a villain realized on the big screen for the next movie? I
mean, again, it's hard because I really enjoy the Riddler. So like this one was like a super just
solid.
All I wanted from 1997 on, I'm like, just bring back Riddler, please. So they already did that. But if I had to say anything, I'd say like don't do Ra's al Ghul. Do like a Deathstroke, which they were going to do it originally. But like a kind of crime syndicate would just be cool. Yeah, because I know what Zack Snyder was hinting to do.
Yes,
and he had people casted already and everything like that.
I get sad every time I think about that.
Yeah, it's sad to hear and sad to because you can see it, you can feel it, and then they just ripped it away. Yeah, but
Deathstroke.
Seeing another Freeze would be cool. Or or Hugo Strange.
That's what he was. Matt Reeves was kind of hinting at. He would love to do a Victor Freeze there. But really, how do you do it in this realistic, gritty, grounded movie? I just don't know how you would do that.
Doing a movie where this man is, the guy's a scientist trying to figure out his wife's disease, easy. Doing it where this man's body temperature is like negative 100 and something Celsius.
Yes.
Is realistically because now you have to try to do it in the same continuity that you did the Riddler and again spoiler for the Joker that's at the end when he's like the unnamed inmate. At that point, like I don't feel like they would explore too far into that. They'd probably show him with light blue skin and he'd like subatomic temperatures. But I don't know really what they would do with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like they handled the Penguin well, they handled Catwoman well, and they handled the Riddler well. Right. In terms of the villains, they really got everything established, grounded, believable.
I guess the next person, if I were to introduce into this universe, that you could do believably, quickly, with good intention, would be Two-Face.
Oh, yeah.
Because at that point, it's not a lot of cosmetics, but at the same time, you could definitely say this person was scarred because of any kind of accident.
Absolutely.
And then that turned his psychosis, and now he has a bipolar issue. Like schizophrenic. Like,
I agree.
Whatever you want to call it. Like,
well, there's so much duality to it because at one point he was the district attorney.
Right.
And now he's just this scarred person that's now a villain.
That's like, now just so much you can
do there.
Exactly. So I feel like that would be somebody if they really were like, well, who's somebody we can bring up easily and not like really have to worry about like too much in terms of it being weird in the city. And I'm like, that'd be a new DA.
Because I do feel that Joker would be too soon in terms of anybody else.
We still need to build on that. That's like, he could probably pop up at the end of the second movie.
Yes.
As like as an option of like, hey, so this dude broke back out again. Remember him from way back when? And then everybody, even like as like consumers, we'd be like, oh shit, I forgot about that. I forgot he was in that movie. Like, and all of a sudden, bam, now he's back in the limelight.
Exactly. Like I said, like you said, we need a little bit of build up for that. I'm down for Mr. Freeze. I don't know how they would do that. Hugo Strange would be amazing.
Cool. That'd be cool.
Doing something closer to Arkham City. I don't know. There's so many great things out there, but you hinted already. There's some great things that they could do that could just go straight into this universe right away, into this kind of the world that they built. But anyway, that's it for us, man. We did a lot. We talked about a lot of good stuff in here. Wow. I'm just floored.
Right, literally. I'm so ready to see it again already.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, that's our time. See you guys later. Have a good night, and let us know what you guys thought about the movie in the comments below. And we'll check you guys in the next time for the next one. Adios. Bye bye.